screen. Please let me know when you're able to see it.
Yep, looks good.
Yeah, we can see
All
it.
right. Perfect. Oops, sorry, let me go back. So thank you everyone so much for joining me today. And thank you to SCORE for having me on their series presenting on U.S. universities and all the information about MSOE and what it takes to be admitted to MSOE. I'm going to go over all that information today, as well as leave some time at the end for questions. If you have questions about MSOE or higher education in the United States in general, I'm very happy to help answer those questions. So to begin, I'll introduce myself. So my name is Samantha. I am the Director of Admissions at the Milwaukee School of Engineering. And you can see on this photo on the screen, this is one of our newest buildings. This is our computer science facility. As Andrew was saying, we have a very high-tech campus. We have a lot of equipment that's very up-to-date and relevant to the industry. We are primarily a STEM institution, so primarily engineering, actually. Undergraduate engineering is what we specialize in, but we do offer programs in nursing, business, and computer science as well. So if you're looking for a STEM program, we likely have something that's going to fit your needs. And you can see on the screen, we are very highly ranked in the United States when it comes to undergraduate engineering. So we are ranked number 10 in the United States for our engineering programs. And you can see that some of our individual programs are also very highly ranked. So you can see we have actuarial science, computer engineering, electrical engineering, civil engineering, and mechanical engineering are all ranked in the top 10 as well, meaning that we have high quality programs that are recognized across the United States as being really good programs, especially within the field of engineering and STEM. But if you're not interested in engineering, you're interested in more of the healthcare field, we do offer a really good nursing program as well. So you can see on the screen, we have a 90% pass rate for the NCLEX, which is the test that nurses have to take when they finish their degree and they're trying to get their nursing license. We have a very high pass rate for the first attempt. And we also offer a computer science program. So on our campus, we actually focus our computer science students on artificial intelligence and machine learning. And we do have a supercomputer located on our campus, which is a little bit more of a rare thing for a university to have a supercomputer on their campus. It's even more rare for undergraduate students to use the supercomputer in their classes, which our students do as a part of their curriculum starting in the second year. The reason why we're so successful in all of these areas is we have an application-oriented curriculum. So this means that we're extremely hands-on, right? So our students are in the lab, they're in the class, and they're working on the machines, the tools, and the equipment that they need to be successful in their program and eventually in their career once they leave MSOE. If you're not familiar with where we're located, we are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So here we have two really beautiful pictures, one in the daytime, one in the nighttime of the downtown Milwaukee area. Our campus is located right in the middle of downtown Milwaukee, so you do have access to all the different things that you need. You can access all of these things within walking distance of our campus, so restaurants, sports venues, shopping centers, anywhere that you need to go, anywhere downtown that you need to get to, it's very easy to get to within the immediate downtown area. If you're unfamiliar with where Milwaukee is in the United States, you can see on the map we are located in the state of Wisconsin, which is in the Midwest region of the United States. Milwaukee is the largest city in the state of Wisconsin with about 1.6 million people in the city and in the surrounding neighborhoods. And we are located on the shores of Lake Michigan. So if you're familiar with the Great Lakes region, Wisconsin is right in between Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. So we have really nice access to the lake. And it's something that our students love to do, especially during the summertime, to walk down to the lake and visit. If you're still unfamiliar with where we're located, we are located pretty close to Chicago. Chicago is one of the main metropolitan cities in the United States, and we are located just a 90-minute drive north of Chicago. So you can see us in relation to the city of Chicago. As I mentioned, we're a very beautiful, friendly, clean, safe, and fun city. So you can see the pictures are all located in the downtown area, very close to our campus. So it's very easy to get around and explore the different parts of downtown Milwaukee. We also have two major sports venues that are located in the downtown area. The Milwaukee Bucks Stadium, which is a basketball team, professional basketball, is just a few blocks away from our campus within walking distance. And then the Milwaukee Brewers, which is our professional baseball team, is located about a 5-minute drive away from our campus. So there's a ton of stuff to do. It's all very easy to get to in the downtown area. You don't have to have a car in order to get to these places. Obviously, as an international student, you most often don't have a car, so you need to be able to get to all these places easily by either walking, taking public transportation, or riding a bike. All right, so now we'll talk a little bit more about the institution itself. So we are a small university. So when you're thinking of the different types of universities in the United States, we have very large public universities, we have small public universities, we also have small private universities. So we are a small private university, just about 3,000 students in total on our campus. We do have a good population of international students. Between about 120 to 150 international students are on our campus. And it's actually closer to 40 different countries represented now. So we have students from all across the world represented at MSOE, and we do have international faculty as well who are teaching some of our classes. So again, that last bullet point is just stating we are a university that is focusing on the practical application of what you are learning in the classroom. So in the classroom, you're going to be learning your theory of engineering, your theory of nursing or computer science, and then you're going to be applying all of that in a hands-on manner in the lab and within the classroom. So that way you are prepared for your internships and for your career in the future. If you're unfamiliar with what types of programs we offer, these are all the different undergraduate academic programs that we offer. So you can see we have kind of 4 different areas. So the first is building and construction. And you can see the architectural and civil engineering program actually offers a 5-year program to get your bachelor's and master's. We also have computer. So this is very popular, especially within the last few years. Our computer science program has become very popular among our students who are looking to get into that field for their career. We also offer engineering. So these are some of our most popular programs in terms of engineering fields. So mechanical engineering is definitely the most popular program that our students are pursuing. The mechanical engineering degree is a very broad degree. You can go into a lot of different fields, such as aerospace or manufacturing. So a lot of our students will choose to do that as their undergraduate degree. And then math, business, and nursing. So those are the other programs that I mentioned. Actuarial science is a math program. We have a Bachelor of Business Administration as well, and then nursing. Our business programs are actually broken down into 5 different Bachelor of Science programs. So we have accounting, finance, operations and systems management, general management, and marketing. So if you're a student who's interested in business, you can always pursue one of those programs as well. All right, so when we talk about our educational philosophy, this is what makes us different. This is what makes us stand out from other universities in the United States, other universities in the Midwest, and then of course against other institutions that offer very similar STEM programs. So the first is that we are direct entry. So what does that mean? When you come to study in the United States, you'll be admitted into the university of your choice, but it doesn't always mean you're going to be admitted into your program of choice. So you have to be conscious of that when you're making your decision of which university you're going to pick. Here at MSOE, when you're admitted into MSOE, you're also admitted into the program of your choice right away. So you start taking those major specific courses in the very first term. When we think about some other large public institutions, sometimes they have what's called pre-engineering or pre-nursing. What that means is that you're admitted into the university, but you actually have to take some general education classes for the first and second year before you can actually apply into the engineering school or into the nursing school. So you want to make sure you understand the university that you're applying to. Is it a direct entry school or is it not a direct entry school? So please make sure you understand the differences and you contact the universities that you're applying to figure out what type of entry they have. So here you'll start taking those major specific courses right away in the fall when you arrive on campus. So that makes you a very marketable student, especially when it comes to looking for internships that next summer. Because you will have taken some of your major specific classes right away in that first year, you typically have enough content knowledge to apply to be accepted into an internship that very following summer. We also have a lot of time spent in the lab. So you can see there over the course of 4 years of study, we have plenty of time for you to spend in the lab, working hands-on in the lab with the machines, the tools, the equipment that you need to be successful in that program. So that way, when you leave MSOE and you start your career, you are the best engineer or the best computer scientist that you can be because you've learned on all of our technologically advanced equipment. We also have a year-long senior design project in the final year. So in the 4th year, you will spend some of your time doing a senior design project, and answering a question or solving a problem that pertains to your major, and you're working with a team of student engineers to accomplish that project. Overall, we are a very small school, so we have small class sizes. We have 13-to-1 student to professor ratio with about 20 to 25 students per class. This means that you're going to get a lot of attention from your professors, and we'll talk about that on the next slide. We also have a 4-year graduation guarantee. So this means that as long as you're staying on your track of your courses and you're passing all of your classes, you are guaranteed to graduate within 4 years. So we talked a little bit about professors already. All of our professors are highly qualified with industry experience, and that's what they bring to their classes in MSOE. So not only do they have experience in the industry as maybe a previous career, but some of them are still really involved in the industry. So they're able to help you with your career and help you with your direction of where you want to go when you graduate. They're also able to help you find things like internships and jobs. Sometimes they can recommend you for jobs or internships that they previously worked at or someone that they know in the industry. All of our professors teach all of our classes and labs. So this means that we have professors with at least master's degrees or PhDs who are teaching all of your classes and labs. Another thing that you need to pay attention to when you're looking for universities is sometimes much larger universities use what's called a teaching assistant. We don't use teaching assistants at MSOE. All of our professors who have this quality industry experience and these advanced degrees are teaching all of our classes. So this just leads to a great professor-student interaction. Our professors are going to know who you are. They're going to know your name. They're going to know your challenges and your successes. They're going to know if you're missing from class one day. They're really here for the success of the students, and this is really beneficial being on a small campus because you will be able to have that interaction with your professors very easily. This slide just mentions our accreditation, so you can see overall we are accredited by the Higher Learning Commission, and then each of our programs has its own accreditation as well. So you can see our engineering accreditation, nursing accreditation, and construction education accreditation as well. One thing that you might be really interested in as an international student is what type of work and research opportunities exist. So a lot of our international students will choose to have on-campus student jobs. Any international student can get a job on campus and earn some extra spending money. Having an on-campus job really will not pay off your tuition. It's just for you to have additional funds so that you can get what you need while you're living in the United States. We do have some opportunities for undergraduate research. These are mostly faculty-led research projects, and you can become aware of these once you actually arrive on campus and you start taking classes. And then finally, we do have CPT and OPT work authorization. So CPT is what you'll use while you're in school if you're doing an internship that's related to your academic focus. And then OPT is what you become eligible for after you leave MSOE. And most of our programs also have STEM OPT eligibility, so that adds an additional 2 years onto your OPT work authorization for a total of 3 years. So now we're going to talk a little bit about campus life. So what's it like to be a student on our campus outside of academics? So the first thing you need to think about is living on campus. So if you are an international student, you're coming to MSOE to enroll as a student, you do have to live on campus for the first 2 years. And I'm going to talk about the different options that we have for living on campus. So the first that's pictured here is the Grumman Tower. This is an on-campus furnished apartment with a kitchen and a bathroom. And all utilities are included in the price of monthly rent. So what does that mean? When you're living in the United States, you do have to pay additional fees if you're living in an apartment. So that includes electricity usage, water usage, heat, internet. So you have to think about all those things if you're choosing to live off campus. So when you live on our campus, if you live in this building, all of those utilities are included in the price of rent, and rent is paid every month. So if you do live in this building, you do have to have the funds to pay to live here every month. This is a really nice living arrangement because it's very new. It's very up to date. It's apartment style, so you have a little bit more privacy. You have a full kitchen and a bathroom. But in order to make it affordable, you do have to live with other students. But it is only MSOE students that live in this building. So if you choose to live here, you would be paired with between 1 to 3 other MSOE roommates to live here. Of course, if you want more of the traditional residence hall, you can see we offer 3 different residence halls. The first is Herman Viets Tower, and this building is also very new. It's very modern, very up to date. The facilities are very nice. There's air conditioning in this building, and this is a traditional style residence hall. So you would share one room with another student, and then all of the students who live on that floor would share the bathroom and shower facilities. We also have 2 additional residence halls, Margaret Locke Hall, which is a little bit older of a facility, but it still is the same type of residence hall. And then Regent's Residence Hall, which is more of a suite style living and is currently only reserved for women to live in this building. So if you live here, you do have to have a meal plan, a 7-day meal plan, which is included in the cost of living here for a full year. Now, when we're taking a look at other student services, what else does MSOE have to offer our students across campus? The first is the Wellness Center. So the Wellness Center is where we offer counseling services and health services. So this is for the overall well-being of the students. So if you are having some troubles in some of your classes in terms of your anxiety or your mental health, maybe you're having a challenge with your roommate or with a friend and you need someone to talk to, that's what counseling services provides to you, and it's free of cost. Health services also includes those minor health issues. So we have a nurse practitioner on our campus who can meet with you and help you with any of those minor health issues that you may have. We also have tutoring. So this is free for all of our students. This is academic tutoring. And of course, it's free for you to use, but we also recommend it as a preventative measure. So this is keeping a good grade in your class. It's helping you understand the material a little bit better. It's helping you prepare for an exam that might be coming up. It's helping you with homework every week. So this is free for all of our students, and it's highly encouraged, so that way you're staying consistent in your classes and you're achieving the grades that you want to achieve while you're at MSOE. MSOE is a very academically challenging institution. So you will be challenged throughout your time in terms of your academics and your classes, but we provide the support to help you keep those grades in your classes and to be confident in what you're learning. We also offer the Kern Center, which is a full athletic and workout facility. So at the Kern Center, we offer 3 different levels of sports participation. So the first is varsity sports. So this would be for someone who is really good at their sport, dedicates a lot of time to their sports, and wants to make their sports a big passion for them while they're studying at school. Then we have club level sports. So this would be for someone who really loves to play their sport, but maybe doesn't want to dedicate as much time to it, or wants to focus more on their studies, but still wants to play that sport and to play some other schools in that sport. Then we finally have intramural level sports. So this is within MSOE. So this is MSOE sports teams playing each other. And maybe this is for somebody who really likes to play a sport, maybe doesn't consider themselves to be that great at that sport, but still really likes to participate and have fun. We also have a full workout facility. So this is free for all of our students to use. A lot of our students take advantage of this. It's a very nice workout facility within the Kern Center. We also have the career fair. So this is really important. It's one of the most important department offices on campus is our Career Connections department. And this is where they can assist you with things like updating your resume, creating a personal statement if you're wanting to apply to graduate school. They help you with mock job interviews. They help you look for internships and jobs. And they provide career fairs throughout the year where we invite companies to come onto our campus to talk with our students, network with our students, maybe interview some of our students for internships or jobs. And this last year, over 380 companies actually came to our campus to look at our students. So this career fair is only for MSOE students. It is not open to the public. We have some really big name companies that come to this career fair looking for our students. This past year, Tesla actually came to our campus looking for our students. And this is the first time we've welcomed them on our campus. So we're very happy to have big name companies like Tesla come to our campus looking for our students. We also, of course, offer student life. So over 90 different student organizations and societies on our campus. So this ranges from volunteer organizations to travel to professional societies that are connected to your major, and a lot of organizations that are just for fun, hobbies that our students have, such as gaming or robotics. So we have something on campus for everyone. And if you don't have a club or organization that interests you, you can actually start a club on campus and get students into that club with you to share your interests. So we talked about this a little bit already. Where do our graduates typically get hired? You can see Harley-Davidson, Rockwell Automation, Milwaukee Tool, GE Healthcare, Johnson Controls. These are just some examples of companies in the Milwaukee and the Midwest area that consistently hire our students. But then we have students who are hired by very large companies such as Tesla, Google, or Amazon. So it just depends on where your interests are and what these companies are looking for, but our students are consistently and continually hired by the top name companies across the Midwest and the United States. Now, when describing the cost information, we need to think about a few things. So first, keep in mind MSOE is a private institution. So sometimes private institutions have a little bit higher of a tuition, but sometimes that means we have a higher return on investment, which is the case for MSOE. And it also means that you may have access to a scholarship, which we also provide our students. So you can see the total listed up at the top of the screen, about $61,446 per year. And this is for your tuition, your living expenses, all of your meals, and health insurance, which is required in the United States. Even though that price may seem a little bit high, you have to keep in mind that all accepted undergraduate international students will receive a $25,000 scholarship per year. And this is based on your GPA coming in. So if you are admitted to MSOE, you are guaranteed to receive the $25,000 scholarship. So this will bring the cost down to about $36,000 per year. One thing to keep in mind is the return on investment. So you need to be looking at the other institutions you're comparing to see what the return on investment is after you graduate. So the return on investment would be the job outcome rate and the average starting salary. And you can see the job outcome rate is about 95% across all of our programs. So this is an average. Some of our programs are even higher, and we have a few programs that have a 100% job outcome rate. We also have a very high starting salary. So our starting salary is about $65,000 per year. And this is within 6 months of graduation. So how likely is it that you're going to receive a job in your field within 6 months after graduation? And what is the average starting salary for your major? So this is very important to consider when you're looking at the cost of education in the United States. You want to make sure that what you're putting into your education is going to have a very good return for you after you graduate and when you start looking for a job. Of course, in the STEM field, there's always a very high return on investment because STEM jobs and engineering careers are very high in demand. You want to make sure that what you're putting into your education is going to result in a really good return on investment after you leave. We do have a few additional scholarship opportunities. So if you have participated in Science Olympiad or any of the robotics or Project Lead the Way under the Destination MSOE, this does qualify you for an additional scholarship opportunity. But I will say that MSOE does not offer need-based aid. So you need to consider the scholarships that we're able to offer you and the cost of education that your family is able to afford when it comes to discussing or pursuing opportunities at MSOE. All right, so when it comes to admission requirements, our application is very straightforward. It's very easy. So we need a free application, which you can see at the link below. And then we require your transcripts with a minimum GPA of 3.0 on the US system or a 2.8 for business and construction management. It's a little bit lower for those programs. We also require to see an English proficiency test. So we do accept the TOEFL or IELTS. We also accept the Duolingo. We do not require the ACT or the SAT. It is recommended because this does help you receive a visa. When you go through the process of applying and receiving a visa, taking the ACT or the SAT makes you look like a very serious candidate who knows what they're doing in the United States when it comes to education. And we also look for someone who has a strong math and science background. So if you're someone who fits this description, you could be a great fit for MSOE. And then finally, we do require to see a financial guarantee and a passport after you are admitted, so that way we can move forward with the I-20 issuing process. And this is my contact information. So you can reach out to me via email. You can also reach out to me via WhatsApp, and I have both of my contacts listed there on the screen. So please reach out to me if you have further questions. If you want to apply, I encourage you to do so. It is free to apply, and one of our admissions counselors will reach out to you right away once we receive your application, so that way we can get your other documents and determine if you're admissible to MSOE. So there's really nothing to lose with the process if you're interested. It's free and it's very easy to do. So at this time, I will now pause and see if we have some questions in the chat. Feel free to ask me any questions that you have, whether they're related specifically to MSOE or university admissions in the United States. I'm very happy to answer those questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Samantha. Yeah, if you want to raise your hand and ask questions, we can open up microphones. The other option, we have the chat open here for everybody, so feel free to just type any questions you might have about MSOE. I wanted to ask a little bit more specifically about some of the work experience opportunities for the programs while they're, studying at the university. I know you have a lot of job placement opportunities when they get out, but also I know we talked a little bit about some of those internship opportunities, and the students that I interviewed when I went there talked about that too. Maybe if you could share a little more about that.
Yeah, of course. So we talked a little bit already about how MSOE students start taking program-specific courses in the very first term, right? So this prepares our students to be eligible and to be qualified for an internship, a paid internship within the first summer. Now, MSOE does not place you in internships. It is up to you to find internships and to apply and to be accepted into an internship. But about 80% of our students participate in paid internships within their second year. That's when it's most common for students to start doing internships. Some internships can be over the academic year, but typically students will always do an internship over the summer. So you can find internships in the Milwaukee area or across the nation. We have students who will go to the West Coast, to the East Coast to do an internship during the summer. And these internships are very well paid. Our students are getting paid to be intern engineers or intern computer scientists. So not only are you getting paid to do this work that's related to your major and is a passion of yours, you're also getting relevant work experience that you can put on your resume. So that way, when you do leave MSOE and you are searching for a career, you have experience, you have proof that you've been in the field while you were in school. This is a really great opportunity too for you to just network yourself with the internships that you're in. So most of our students will actually get hired by the company that they're interning with in their fourth year. So a lot of our students will have a job secured even before they leave MSOE and they graduate because they've done multiple internships. Sometimes they'll be asked to do the same internship each summer because that company really liked you and really liked the work that you produced. So it's a great way for you to market yourself, to get hired in a full-time job, and really just to make sure that the field that you're going into is something that you're interested in. Any other questions? Again, feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions. It doesn't have to relate to MSOE specifically. It can be about the admissions process or any questions involving university admissions. So here's a question. What do you usually look for in a student? So I'm assuming that means throughout the application process. So that's a really great question. Unfortunately, I can't speak for every university, right? So every university in the United States is looking for something different. But what I can speak to is what a STEM university is looking for or what an engineering university is looking for. So a lot of liberal arts universities or large public universities are looking at your application holistically. So they're looking at your application, your transcripts, your high school GPA, your test scores. They're looking at your personal statement or your essay, sometimes letters of recommendation to determine the applicant holistically. That's how most universities will determine applications and who's admitted into the program. MSOE is a little different, and some STEM schools are a little different because we are trying to determine your success in our programs. And your success in our programs are typically based on your math experience and your science experience. So we are looking at your GPA. We're looking to see how well you performed in high school in your classes. We're also looking to see what your math grades are or what your science grades are, because this typically predicts if you're going to be successful in an engineering program. So if you're looking at something that's more STEM or engineering based, we're probably looking at your scores in your GPA. If you're applying to a school that's more of a liberal arts school that offers many different types of programs in the humanities and the social sciences, they're probably going to be looking at everything holistically on your application, which could include essays or letters of recommendation. So great question. Another question, what aspects do you value in a CV? So in the United States, we call a CV a resume. So a resume is showing your work experience. It's also showing your educational experience. So when we're talking about university admissions, when you're most often going to be submitting a CV or a resume is when you're applying to a graduate school. There might be some undergraduate schools that require a CV or a resume, but it's not as common. So when you're applying to graduate school and you have your resume or your CV, like I mentioned, you should have all of your relevant work experience, your educational experience, and your qualifications in your education. You might want to include some relevant skills if you have any type of certifications or if you're especially proficient in Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel or some type of qualification that makes you stand out. That's what you can include on your CV or your resume.
And just to elaborate, I think a little bit on that question, I think a lot of times our students are looking at applications both in the US and other countries, and a lot of times a CV, even for undergraduates, is a component of that, but we tend to look at it, you know, more through the lens of like extracurriculars and maybe other high school experiences and things. And I guess I know you've mentioned a lot of emphasis on GPA and academics at MSOE. You know, we always hear about the holistic review process in the United States. How important for MSOE are some of those other things like extracurriculars and other activities that the students might have done?
Sure. Yeah, great question. I might not be answering this the way that most people would, but unfortunately, those things don't matter as much at MSOE. While we do value the organizations you've participated in and the extracurriculars and the volunteer experience that you have, unfortunately, it's not a part of our admissions process. Our admissions process, we are looking at two things. For international students, we're looking at two things. We're looking at your cumulative GPA and we're looking at your English proficiency test. If you're able to meet those two qualifications, you're admitted to MSOE. And the nice thing about our university is you're not competing against other people to get admissions. So you might know of, or you might understand university in the admissions in the United States to mean that you have to be the top of the top in order to get into that university or into that program. At MSOE, this is not the case. So here, you're only competing against our admissions qualifications. And if you meet those qualifications, you will be admitted to our university. So we don't have any caps on how many students can be in a certain program. We don't have only a certain percentage of students that we admit into a program. If you are admissible, you will be admitted. So that is a little bit different than some other universities in the United States, because a lot of universities in the United States are looking at everything in your application. They're looking at your extracurriculars. They're looking at your volunteer experience. They're looking at things that you've done on your CV or your resume, and they're using that information to determine if you're going to be a good applicant or a strong applicant for their university. But here, because we are so focused on math and science and STEM, we want to make sure that you have the academic qualifications to be successful in our programs.
I think we have one more question on the chat.
All right, so we have a question about recommendation letter. So the student is asking, is it mandatory to send a recommendation from the math teacher? So again, at many other institutions, this could be a great idea. If you have a really good recommendation letter from one of your professors that shows that you're a top math student and that you're very successful in math, it would be worth it to attach a recommendation letter to your application. If you're specifically applying to MSOE, we are not going to use that to determine your admission, because remember, we're only looking at your GPA and your English proficiency test. While a recommendation letter from your math teacher will show that you're a really good and strong student, we need to see that reflected in your GPA and reflected in your math courses.
I think we got some raise hand features going here. Let's hear from Annie.
Hi, my name is Annie. Uh, some people here want to study in the US because they want to stay in the US. You talk about your job outcomes, and they are amazing. I would like to know how they translate to people wanting to find a job that could sponsor a visa after graduation.
Yeah, great question. That is a concern that most of our international students have. When they're intending to study in the United States, they of course want to have work authorization, but they want to know, what does that mean after my OPT is up? So as a reminder, if you're pursuing a STEM degree, you can have up to 3 years of OPT, work authorization in the United States. And then after that, you either need to get some type of sponsorship from a company, or you need to return to your home country. So I am obviously not here to give advice on how students can be able to do that, but I will say that we've had a number of international students who have been very successful in getting that sponsorship from companies. So much so that we had a graduate student in our office today who was successful in getting sponsorship from his company. So one of the areas that MSOE is very strong in is our corporate and company partnerships and our job outcome rates. So 95 to 96% of our students are going to get a job in their field after they graduate. Then the rest is really up to you to prove that you are, such a good engineer, such a good computer scientist that your company wants to sponsor you and wants to keep you in that position in the United States. So we are able to help you get there and help you get those jobs because of our reputation in the community and across the nation. When people see the Milwaukee School of Engineering, they know the quality of the student that they're getting. But then it really is up to you to be able to prove to that company that you do deserve that work authorization, that you have the background from MSOE that makes you that strong candidate to do so. Any other questions? And then, of course, too, you can also pursue graduate school, right? So after your undergraduate degree, you can stay in the United States and complete your graduate or your master's degree in order to, continue building your academic career, but then getting additional time to stay and work in the United States as well.
Yeah, I think that's very well explained. And I know, just from my time on campus, there's a bunch of laboratories with companies' names on the windows and doors. So you definitely have a lot of contact with these local businesses, even while you're studying. And even if you don't necessarily get an internship opportunity right away, there's multiple avenues for you to be discovered, I think. And that's definitely something that's important to getting those opportunities. Who and who gets to see you will definitely impact the likelihood of you getting that kind of job offer. And so I think the fact that you're being put into a lot of good situations at MSOE is going to help too.
Yes, that's a very, very good point to make is, even if you're not considering MSOE, when you're looking at a university, you need to look at what they offer in terms of their career connections. So you need to see what type of companies are working with the institution. You need to see how much the institution is going to help you find an internship or find a job. While we do not place you in internships or jobs, there are plenty of opportunities for you to be connected to these big name corporations or industries based on our professor connection and the reputation of MSOE. So on some previous slides, I mentioned some of the companies that work with us or who continually hire our students. So if we go back here and we take a look quickly, you can see Harley-Davidson is one of the biggest companies in Milwaukee. It's a global brand. People know who Harley-Davidson is. Same thing with Milwaukee Tool, Google, Tesla. These are some of the biggest corporations or companies in the United States. And these companies know who we are, and they continually offer our students internships and jobs. There's plenty of opportunities for you. It might be a little bit more difficult if you go to some other universities that are more of a liberal arts focus or who aren't as well known among these big name companies. Any other questions? not seeing any other questions, that is okay. Hopefully I've been able to answer every question that you have. And if you think of something else or you would prefer to message with me outside of this webinar, feel free to send me an email or send me a WhatsApp message. I'd be very happy to continue working with you. And if you do decide to submit an application, one of our admissions counselors will reach out to you right after you submit it and start to gather your documents and start to answer your questions.
Excellent. And just a real quick reminder, when would you encourage anyone to apply if they are interested?
Yeah, so if you are in high school, your 12th grade year is the best time to start applying. So if you're in your final year right now, you should be applying right now. Our applications have been accepted or have been starting to be processed all the way back in August, all the way through the end of this year and into the spring. Of course, as an international student, there's a lot more with this process than just submitting your application. There's the entire visa process that you have to go through. So submitting your application now is the best time, but we're on a rolling admission, so we don't have a deadline. So we will have students who will submit applications all the way through the spring into the next year. Just remember that the closer you get to fall, the harder it's going to be to get a visa in time.
All right, perfect.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for having me. Thank you to SCORE for having me here again. I always appreciate being able to present to international students and answer those questions.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Samantha. Really appreciate you taking some time to talk to us today. And, definitely if you're interested in MSOE, you can get in touch with her directly. She's already left her information. Or you can always reach out to us at SCORE as well if you guys need any assistance. If you're working with one of our counselors and you want to add MSOE to your list, just let them know. If you're not working with us yet, you can reach out to us too if you need any assistance with your application.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day, Samantha.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, Samantha.
All right. And our next guest will be from IE University, Spain. That will be starting up at 6 p.m. So we're going to take a little break. You're welcome to stay here. We're going to use the same link the rest of the day. Or you can come back at 6. So IE is coming up next. We'll see you soon.
bien, todo bien. Gracias. De nada, yo feliz. ¿Ya? Sí, sí, perfecto.
Hola, Mónica.
Hola,
¿Cómo
Mariole.
estás? ¿Cómo has estado? ¿Qué tal todo?
Todo bien, todo bien. Oye, hazme acordar que ya tengo el... Bueno, ya hablamos en privado, pero ya tengo el dato de lo del bus.
Ay, buenas o ya, te escribo. Hablamos por ahí.
Me acordar porque me lo pasaron el otro día y me olvidé.
No te preocupes, lo voy a poner como reminder acá. Así que ya te lo escribo.
Yo quería
Pero,
ir, pero no me hicieron caso.
¿vas a estar en Lima o cómo así?
Sí, pues no, yo les dije, oye, que si creen que necesito, si los puedo yo ayudar y para yo acompañarlos y no sé qué. No me hicieron caso.
La próxima.
Es que por un día tampoco me van a pagar.
Claro. Escucha.
Así que nada, me quedaré con las ganas.
No, pero igual estamos hablando. Igual cualquier cosa, si nos vamos a volver a ver en otra feria acá presencial o algún día que quedar y de repente reuniones Corey presencial. Sería bonito.
Está bien.
Y otra vez muchas gracias por estar acá porque tú sabes que la I es uno de nuestros o sea, de los favoritos de los chicos. Así que ya tenemos algunos que han entrado, otros que están postulando, otros que se están poniendo en la lista, así que esa charla es como estrella para ellos. Ahora vamos a seguir esperando, todavía faltan unos minutos.
A diferencia de otras veces, casi todos son chicos. Antes eran más chicas.
Sí, ¿no? Sí, ahora están.
Ahora hay 2 chicas y creo que los demás son chicos.
Claro, todavía no son las 6. Hay que ver también, ahí contamos. Para ver cómo está.
No me gusta tapar la torre con cabezota. Tengo que poner. Ay, Paloma. Acabo de hablar hoy día con ella.
Bueno, ya son las 6, ¿no? Creo que podemos empezar.
Perfecto. Andrew, en el mail que nos mandaste dijiste que son 50 minutos que debe durar todo, incluido las preguntas, ¿correcto?
Sí,
Ya, perfecto.
Ya.
¿Ya?
Bueno, ahorita comenzamos. Muchas gracias a todos por estar acá. Les presentamos a Mónica Paz, representante de la IE. Ahora les voy a contar un poco más sobre la universidad y también quería aprovechar para contarles de que junto a Mónica también estamos trabajando para realizar un viaje con Score en enero a la IE para visitar el campus, vamos a tener un workshop privado. De repente, Mónica, sí que les puedes contar un poquito más sobre lo del workshop y todo, pero va a ser una visita totalmente personalizada al campus, guiada también por los alumnos, por profesores y por staff de la universidad. Y como les comenté, este workshop va a ser dirigido a nuestros alumnos sobre emprendimiento y business, así que va a ser una súper oportunidad. Si quieren también nos pueden escribir a nosotros, nos pueden escribir a Mónica, pero estamos acá para responder todas sus dudas. Así que nada, Mónica, cuando quieras.
Gracias a los
Gracias.
dos, a Andrew y a Mariale. Gracias, chicos, por estar aquí. Nada, sí, voy a empezar rapidito para contarles o lo que Mariale estaba diciendo del viaje. Efectivamente, estamos organizando junto con Score esto, que es un full day en IE University, y la idea es poder visitar los dos campus. Vamos a estar primero visitando el campus de Segovia. Vamos a hacer un campus tour ahí que va a ser guiado por los mismos alumnos para que puedan mostrar
Recording in progress.
cómo están todas las instalaciones. Después vamos a tener un workshop sobre emprendimiento con una profesora de IE. De ahí en la cafetería un almuerzo con alumnos también para que puedan seguir, la idea es que puedan interactuar con los alumnos y preguntarles cosas, y luego de ahí regresamos a Madrid y se hace el tour por la torre de Madrid, y ya van a tener contacto también con gente de admisiones para que les cuente un poco sobre IE, sobre los procesos y esto, pero bueno, sobre los procesos en general y la postulación, si finalmente se deciden, lo hablan conmigo o con Mariale, ¿no? Así que nada, eso ojalá podamos contar con un grupo grande y me encantaría poder verlos allá. Bueno, vamos a empezar. ¿Puedo compartir pantalla? A ver.
Sí, claro. A ver, si quieres compartir, te aviso si es que lo podemos ver.
Ya.
Ya, buenas.
Creo que sí, ¿no?
Sí, ya está, perfecto. A ver, apago mi
Ok.
camarita.
Entonces, nada, chicos, soy Mónica Paz, yo soy representante de IE University para Perú, Bolivia y Paraguay. Bueno, yo soy peruana, yo estoy aquí en Lima, de hecho tenemos una oficina física aquí, así que ahora, bueno, con todo lo que ha pasado en los últimos años, nos hemos vuelto todos virtuales, pero antes atendía a todas las consultas presencialmente, pero bueno, ahora estamos en esta modalidad. Pero que sepan que tenemos una oficina aquí, así que cualquier cosa que necesiten pueden ponerse en contacto conmigo. ¿Quiénes somos, no? IE University es una universidad en España que tiene dos campus, el de Segovia y el de Madrid. ¿Y cuál es la característica principal? Es el hecho de que a pesar de que estamos en España, todas las carreras se imparten 100% en inglés. Yo creo que eso es una de las cosas que más nos diferencian de otras universidades españolas. Las carreras que ofrecemos, ya lo vamos a ver en la presentación, están orientadas hacia el mundo de la empresa, hacia el mundo corporativo. De hecho, bueno, tenemos un programa de business muy reconocido mundialmente, pero hay muchas otras carreras, pero todas tienen que ver con el mundo de la empresa, los negocios, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, aquí están viendo un poco de imágenes de ambos campus, tanto el de Madrid como el de Segovia. Y lo que quería empezar era contándoles cómo son nuestros alumnos, ¿no? ¿Quiénes son nuestros alumnos? Un poco de dónde vienen, ¿no? Tenemos alumnos de más de 50 sistemas educativos diferentes. Esto es un poco para que se hagan una idea de lo diverso que es el student body de IE, ¿no? Aquí en el Perú, quizás entre los diferentes colegios podríamos manejar unos 5 o 6 sistemas educativos, pues está, bueno, obviamente el sistema peruano, y después tenemos el IB, hay los bachilleratos europeos que ofrecen algunos colegios, como el bachillerato alemán, el italiano, el francés, y también en algún colegio que se ofrece el American High School Diploma, ¿no? Pero bueno, en IE hay más de 50 sistemas educativos diferentes, y el 75% de nuestros alumnos no son españoles. Así que háganse la idea que realmente van a compartir clase con chicos de todas partes del mundo. Se hablan más de 45 idiomas distintos en el campus, y hemos tenido en la última convocatoria en ambos campuses más de 130 nacionalidades. Entonces esto realmente hace una experiencia muy internacional y de la que ustedes podrían sacar muchísimo provecho. Ya les voy a explicar ahora, ¿no? Quería contarles un poco en qué está basado nuestro sistema o nuestro modelo educativo, ¿no? Son estos 4 pilares en los que se centra. Primero, todo lo que es la mentalidad emprendedora. Está presente en cada una de las carreras que impartimos y en las diferentes metodologías que utilizan los profesores. ¿Qué entendemos por emprendimiento? No entendamos emprendimiento solo como el hecho de crear un negocio, ¿no? Que de hecho es un emprendimiento. Pero emprender como la actividad de generar cosas nuevas, ¿no? De no quedarnos quietos, de siempre estar buscando qué más podemos hacer, qué proyectos nuevos podemos involucrarnos, ¿no? Y en qué cosas podemos ir cambiando, ¿no? Darle la vuelta a las cosas, mirarlo desde otro punto de vista para ver lo que ya tenemos, de qué otra forma lo podemos presentar y siempre tratar de tener proyectos nuevos, ¿no? Involucrarnos en cosas distintas y mantenernos siempre activos. Esto apoyado siempre con el tema de la tecnología y una cultura de innovación, que para nosotros es fundamental. La experiencia diversa, que era un poco lo que les hablaba al inicio de la presentación. Realmente quisiera que se dieran cuenta lo importante que puede ser que estén rodeados de gente distinta a ustedes, ¿no? De hecho, socialmente puede ser increíble tener amigos de todas partes del mundo y decir, oye, tengo un amigo de Egipto, o un amigo de Corea, o un amigo de Singapur. Claro, es lo máximo. O sea, socialmente también es muy atractivo, pero profesionalmente hablando, no tienen idea lo mucho que van a crecer de estar al lado de chicos diferentes, de chicos que han crecido en un mundo distinto a ustedes, que tienen una cultura totalmente distinta a ustedes. Entonces, se alimenta mucho esto porque la metodología de I es una metodología muy práctica. Está basada mucho en trabajar en equipo, en hacer proyectos juntos. Entonces, el profesor es más un moderador que un hablante dominante, digamos, que está adelante compartiendo con ustedes ideas y ustedes tomando nota, ¿no? Sino es simplemente, ok, vamos a trabajar este proyecto. Y el profesor modera la clase que se convierte en un debate. Un equipo presenta algo y los demás discuten, no, a mí no me parece esto, no me parece lo otro. Entonces, ¿cuál es el problema? ¿Cuál es la solución que ustedes plantean? Entonces tú puedes pensar y estar seguro de que el problema es uno y la solución es otra. Y eso para ti es, digamos, un hecho, pero de repente viene un chico de otra parte del mundo totalmente distinto a ti que dice, no, para mí la solución es esta otra y podemos llegar a este lugar por este otro camino. Y tú te quedas como que, nunca se me hubiera ocurrido, ¿no? Entonces, esto que te va a empezar a pasar todos los días, te das cuenta que te va a abrir el mundo, ¿no? Que abre tu mente y dice, ok, ¿por qué nunca se me ocurrió? Y nunca se te ocurrió porque creciste digamos, tienes un background específico y una cultura y una familia y unos amigos que más o menos manejan informaciones similares. Y este otro chico tiene un mundo totalmente distinto y él vio las cosas desde otra perspectiva. Entonces, eso es lo que quiero que entiendan que realmente los va a ayudar a crecer el estar en un ambiente diverso, un ambiente multicultural. Y bueno, y de hecho también el enfoque hacia las humanidades. Para nosotros es fundamental que no solo impartir conocimientos técnicos, lo que tiene que ver con tu carrera, ¿no? Sino también hablar de arte, de cultura, que siempre tienen que estar presentes en todo. Y también manejar el tema de las habilidades blandas, las soft skills. Para nosotros son fundamentales que se puedan complementar. Un profesional exitoso no solo se va a formar a través de sus conocimientos técnicos, sino que tiene que tener estas habilidades, como por ejemplo el trabajo en equipo. No hay forma de que podamos llevar a cabo un proyecto si no somos capaces de adaptarnos a las ideas de otros, aceptar pensamientos diferentes. Si no tenemos la capacidad de liderarlos y inspirar a otros para que nos sigan, de que podamos comunicarnos eficazmente y poder transmitir lo que estamos pensando. Entonces, todas estas soft skills o habilidades interpersonales realmente nos van a nos van a crear una mejor versión de nosotros. O sea, ya podemos ser excelentes profesionales dominando nuestro campo, pero con estas habilidades vamos a ser aún mejores. Y para nosotros eso es fundamental. Bueno, les decía que teníamos 2 campus, ¿no? Uno está en Madrid, el otro está en Segovia. Para los que no saben, bueno, obviamente Madrid, la capital de España, es la ciudad más grande de España. De hecho, bastante más chica que Lima, pero bueno, es la más grande de España, ¿no? Es alrededor de unos 5 millones de habitantes, pero es una ciudad increíble. No saben la cantidad de oferta, bueno, si es que quizás algunos o varios de ustedes ya lo han visitado, pero la cantidad de oferta de entretenimiento, la oferta cultural que tiene, es una ciudad increíble para vivir y de verdad se los recomiendo. Pero Segovia, que es una ciudad muy pequeñita, está a solo 25 minutos de distancia de Madrid en el tren rápido. En la carretera es un poco más, es como 1 hora y 15, ¿no? Por el tráfico y todo, pero la verdad es que está muy cerca. Ahora, sí es una ciudad pequeña, pero lo bonito de Segovia es que al ser una ciudad pequeña es prácticamente una ciudad universitaria. Entonces, a donde ustedes vayan, si están estudiando en Segovia, van a conocer y toparse con chicos de su edad. Y terminas conociéndote entre todos, no solo los que estudian lo mismo que tú, sino los que estudian las otras carreras y los que están en años anteriores y años posteriores. Y finalmente se genera una comunidad tan sólida y tan fuerte, se hacen lazos tan fuertes que haces amigos de por vida, ¿no? Y eso realmente también es muy valioso. Entonces, la adaptación, cuando tú te vas de tu casa a vivir solo por primera vez, la verdad es que se hace muy fácil en Segovia, ¿no? Entonces, tenemos la opción de que hagan la mitad de la carrera en Segovia y luego se trasladen a Madrid, o la otra opción es hacer toda la carrera en Madrid, ¿no? Son esas 2 opciones. Nadie puede hacer toda la carrera en Segovia, salvo la de arquitectura, que sí es toda en Segovia, pero todas las demás es o los 4 años en Madrid, o 2 en Segovia y 2 en Madrid. Aquí tienen un poco de imágenes de Segovia. El campus está ubicado en un convento del siglo XII, que es Patrimonio Cultural de la Humanidad. Ya les contarán durante su visita qué importante era, porque este es el acueducto romano que está en la Plaza Mayor de Segovia, es el monumento insigne de la ciudad. La verdad es que es muy bonito, y también es muy verde todo, ¿no? El edificio, que están viendo aquí a la izquierda, era el edificio donde iba a misa Isabel la Católica, ¿no? En la época del descubrimiento de América. Y aquí fue donde se reunió con Cristóbal Colón para darle la instrucción del viaje, ¿no? De ir a la India o a las Indias, que finalmente lo terminó trayendo a América, ¿no? Pero bueno, eso es ahora. Ya por fuera, pues el edificio, obviamente como es patrimonio cultural, se mantiene intacto, pero por dentro está todo remodelado, como han visto en las imágenes, ¿no? La verdad es que es un campus muy, muy bonito. Y bueno, en contraposición a esto tenemos Madrid con su nueva torre, que acaba de ser inaugurada el año pasado, en septiembre del 2021. Es increíble lo moderno, lo tecnológica que es la torre. Tiene instalaciones de todo, tienes campos deportivos, tienes salas de relajación, de música. O sea, esto aparte obviamente de las aulas de estudio y de las oficinas administrativas de todo el personal, ¿no? Pero en realidad, y abajo ya se ha creado un centro comercial, hay restaurantes, hay tiendas. Entonces sí, toda esa zona de la ciudad está creciendo alrededor de la universidad, y también se está volviendo algo muy, muy atractivo para los estudiantes. Bueno, estas son las carreras que estamos ofreciendo para el año 2023. Han entrado 3 carreras nuevas: la de Applied Math, la de Environmental Sciences and Sustainability, y la de Urban Studies. Esas son las 3 nuevas. Pero bueno, aparte de eso, teníamos Architecture, teníamos Behavioral Science, Business Administration, Communication, Digital Media, Computer Science, Data, Design, Economics, International Relations, Law, y el PPLE, que es Philosophy, Politics, Law and Economics. ¿Okay? Todas las carreras se imparten 100% en inglés. Todas duran 4 años, salvo arquitectura, que es la única que dura 5. Y como les decía, la gran mayoría, el 90%, puedes hacer las dos versiones, tanto los 4 en Madrid como 2 y 2, 2 Segovia, 2 Madrid. Pero hay algunas en que no se puede escoger. Por ejemplo, diseño. Diseño ahorita solo está disponible 2 años en Segovia y 2 años en Madrid. No tiene todavía la opción de hacer los 4 años en Madrid. Y así hay otros 3 más, ¿no? O Behavioral Science y Computer Science hace solo 1 año en Segovia y 3 en Madrid. Pero eso, bueno, no entremos en detalle porque es difícil después de recordar. Ya cuando alguno decida, me pregunta y igual en el folleto también está la información detallada. Aparte de estos bachelors, en IE ofrecemos dual degrees. ¿Qué son dual degrees? Es la oportunidad de hacer 2 carreras de una sola vez. Llevas paralelamente 2 carreras y las sacas en 5 años nada más. Entonces tienes 2 diplomas en 5 años. No es un diploma más su especialización, sino son 2 full diplomas en 5 años. Ahora, eso sí, tiene una carga académica bastante más fuerte, ¿no? Porque llevas más créditos por semestre. Pero bueno, son ahorita en este momento estas 7 combinaciones las que hay disponibles. 4 de business con data, con design, con international relations y con law. Y después tenemos international relations con economics y con law. Y finalmente el PPLE con data. Me gustaría, si tienen el teléfono a la mano, que puedan tomarle foto a esto, porque bueno, ya que no nos estamos viendo en persona, no tengo posibilidad de darles folletos. Con este código QR se pueden descargar los folletos de cualquiera de las carreras para que puedan ver el detalle de las que les interese. Así que lo dejo ahí unos segundos para que puedan entrar al código y descargarse los folletos, ¿no? Así los pueden revisar y si tienen pues ya cualquier duda, en el folleto van a encontrar, aparte de la información general, por ejemplo, a qué personas va dirigido, qué tipo de personas les gusta estudiar estas carreras, cuáles podrían ser las posibles salidas profesionales, dónde, qué cargos podrías ocupar una empresa si estudias esa carrera. Después también está el study plan, detallado un poco año por año, cuáles son los cursos que llevarías. Y así el tema de los intercambios, el tema de las prácticas, el tema de los laboratorios, todo está en cada uno de los folletos. ¿Qué otras cosas adicionales ofrece IE? Por ejemplo, dentro de los extracurriculares están los IU Labs, estos laboratorios. ¿Qué son? Se preguntarán ustedes. Los labs son proyectos que desarrollamos con empresas y que nos encargan o sea, la empresa le encarga a IE desarrollar un proyecto para que sus alumnos puedan estar involucrados desde el inicio de su carrera, va a ser la aplicación práctica de lo que están estudiando. Ustedes saben que para graduarse, cualquier universidad solicita una cantidad de horas de práctica, ¿ok? En IE es lo mismo, necesitan cierta cantidad de horas de práctica para graduarse. Pero las prácticas solo están disponibles en los 2 últimos años de la carrera. Entonces, y tenemos convenios con muchas empresas para esas prácticas. Y aprovechando esos convenios es que el IE diseñó los laboratorios. Entonces, en realidad serían como prácticas también, pero no estarían yendo a la empresa, sino se harían en la universidad. Y entonces tenemos en este momento estos laboratorios donde se desarrollan proyectos reales que luego se van a presentar a las empresas y donde el IE recluta chicos de todas las carreras, ¿no? Perdón. Porque, por ejemplo, para el Innovation Lab o el Startup Lab, ¿no? O el Marketing Lab incluso, si quieres hacer un proyecto de marketing o un proyecto de un startup, de empezar una empresa, necesitas chicos de todas las carreras, ¿no? No solo de business, necesitas chicos de comunicaciones, necesitas chicos de diseño, de derecho, para ver la parte legal, los chicos de behavioral science para ver toda la parte del consumer behavior, ¿no? Y poder diseñar las diferentes estrategias. Entonces, en realidad, tienen la oportunidad, si participan en los laboratorios, de poder conocer de primera mano y desde el inicio de la carrera cómo sería la aplicación de lo que están estudiando en el mundo real, ¿no? En el mundo laboral. Ahora, estos son extracurriculares, por lo tanto son opcionales, pero también tenemos de teatro, de debate, de música, de cocina, diferentes clubes en los que ustedes podrían involucrarse algunas horas a la semana para hacer cosas que les interesan. Y obviamente la parte deportiva, que también creo que a la mayoría les gusta, y como ven hay una gran variedad de deportes que se pueden practicar en ambos campuses. Bueno, hablando también de todas las cosas extras que ofrecemos están los intercambios con universidades de fuera. El IE tiene un convenio con más de 140 universidades. Aquí en el mapa hay algunos de ellas. Como ven, tenemos muchas universidades en Canadá y en Estados Unidos, también en toda Europa, y también muchas que están ahora llamando mucho la atención y que la mayoría está yéndose, es la parte de Asia-Pacífico. Hay muchos chicos yendo a Singapur, yendo a Hong Kong, ¿no? Es una realidad totalmente diferente. Haces un semestre fuera, te lo convalidan todo porque hay convenios de por medio, sigues pagando las tarifas de tu universidad, o sea, de IE, no tienes que pagar extra, o sea, la parte académica está totalmente cubierta, bueno, sí, el traslado y el costo de vida sí, ¿no? Eso corre por cuenta de cada uno, pero es una experiencia más que irías acumulando para tu desarrollo personal y profesional, ¿no? Y bueno, contarles ahora un poquito del proceso de admisión. En principio está dividido en 4 partes. Estas 3 primeras es llenar la aplicación online, que está disponible en nuestra plataforma, que tiene un costo de 120 euros postular. Les van a pedir, bueno, información personal, académica, y después también información sobre tus extracurriculares, experiencias internacionales, es decir, si se fueron alguna vez a un summer camp, si se fueron de intercambio, si hicieron algún tipo si han tenido alguna experiencia viviendo solos, si han tenido alguna experiencia laboral, algún negocio, alguna práctica, algo que hayan hecho, bueno, un poco información y documentos que hay que presentar, como, bueno, la foto, la copia del pasaporte, las notas del colegio, es lo principal. Y si han hecho algo de universidad, o sea, si ya terminaron el colegio y están haciendo universidad, también hay que presentar las notas de la universidad, o sea, de hecho, sí o sí, las notas de todo lo que hayan estudiado. O sea, así sea por traslado y ya estés en la universidad, hay que presentar las notas del colegio, ¿ya? Ahorita el IE está pidiendo algunos mínimos en cuanto a académicos. Si ustedes están haciendo IB, por ejemplo, el mínimo que pide IE es 32 puntos. Si están haciendo sistema nacional, sistema peruano, estamos pidiendo alrededor de 17 de promedio. Si es que están haciendo universidad, esperamos un 15 de promedio en la universidad, ¿ya? Bueno, esos son los documentos. Hay que presentar también un ensayo, unas cartas de recomendación y un currículum, ¿ok? Entonces, van trabajando esa aplicación y hay que rendir un examen de admisión. Ustedes deciden en qué momento rinden ese examen. Se puede rendir mientras están llenando la aplicación, antes de terminarla, o pueden hacerlo una vez que la hayan terminado. Eso lo deciden ustedes. ¿Ok? Pero sucede que hasta que no esté el examen, o sea, pueden haber terminado todo y juntar todos los documentos, pero si no han dado el examen, el comité no los va a evaluar. En cuanto al examen, hay 2 opciones. O presentar el examen de IE, que es un examen que se hace virtualmente, que está disponible todas las semanas, se puede tomar martes, miércoles y jueves de cada semana, salvo Navidad, Año Nuevo, Semana Santa, que no hay fechas, pero después en todo el año hay 3 días en que hay fechas para tomar exámenes. Es un examen que no mide, que no mide conocimientos, es un examen que mide habilidades, capacidad analítica, lógica, por lo tanto no hay forma de estudiar o prepararse para ese examen. Y tienen la opción, si es que, por ejemplo, estuvieran postulando a otra universidad que les pide un SAT, ¿no? Y ya lo tienen o se están preparando y lo van a dar, pues pueden presentar el SAT y ya no tienen que dar el examen de BI, ¿no? Pedimos para el SAT un mínimo de 1.200 puntos. Y el paso número 3, que es el online assessment, es una vez que ustedes entregan la solicitud, reciben un link para entrar a esta plataforma que les lanza 3 preguntas de manera aleatoria y ustedes tienen que responder 2 habladas a la cámara de la computadora y una por escrito. Entonces, cuando tenemos estos 3 pasos cubiertos, el comité recién se va a reunir para evaluar su candidatura. Y si en ese momento determina que cumplen con todos los requisitos que solicita IE, les dan el OK para pasar a la siguiente etapa, que es la entrevista personal. ¿Ok? La entrevista viene a ser el último paso del proceso, Yo diría que quizás podría ser el más importante porque es el que nos permite conocerlos a fondo, es el único momento en que el comité de admisiones va a estar en contacto con ustedes, ¿no? Es una entrevista que se centra en ustedes mismos, en tratar de conocerlos más, cuáles son sus pasiones, qué es lo que más les gusta hacer, qué planes tienen para el futuro, por qué escogieron esa carrera, por qué escogieron IE, por qué quieren irse fuera, ¿no? Entonces, un poco, ahí también evaluamos el carácter de las personas, ¿no? Qué tan claras tienen las cosas, su nivel de madurez. Entonces es importante la entrevista, no es que necesariamente tengan que estudiar o prepararse demasiado, pero sí hay que tomárselo en serio porque yo, como les digo, pienso que es una de las partes más importantes del proceso. Y luego de que se hace la entrevista, el comité se vuelve a reunir y ya decide si están admitidos o no. ¿Ok? Una vez, si todo sale bien y consiguen la admisión, les mandan su carta, y si ustedes en el momento que tomen la decisión de que IE es su opción, de que van a ir a IE, pues muchos pueden, algunos ya lo tienen muy claro desde el inicio, pero otros tienen que considerar otros factores. Por ejemplo, hay chicos que están esperando respuestas de otras universidades, hay chicos que necesitan una beca y que hasta que no les respondan de la beca no pueden tomar la decisión. Entonces, en el momento que puedan tomar la decisión y que digan, ok, IE es mi opción, me voy a ir a estudiar ahí, hay que hacer una reserva de su cupo, el place reservation, y hay que pagar 2.000 euros para separar el cupo. ¿Ok? Entonces ya con eso tienen garantizado su inicio en la carrera de economía en Segovia en el año 2023, ¿no? O sea, para lo que te admitieron, entonces ya tienes reservado tu cupo y digamos que a partir de ahí ya puedes empezar a ver todos los demás temas, ¿no? Una vez que haces el place reservation, recién desde ese momento eres considerado alumno de IE, ¿no? Antes estás solamente admitido, ¿no? Entonces, cuando ya eres alumno de IE, pues te empiezan a llegar las comunicaciones de todos los pasos a seguir, del proceso de matrícula ya para hacer el enrollment, te mandan información sobre los alojamientos, las residencias universitarias, los trámites de visa, el seguro médico que hay que conseguir, ¿no? Y varias cosas más, ya información de la universidad misma, ¿no? Student Services es el departamento que creo que con el que más contacto van a tener una vez que terminen el proceso de admisión, porque Student Services se encarga de todo lo que es la llegada de los alumnos a España y su ambientación allá y los trámites legales que hay que hacer. O sea, fuera de los que tienen pasaporte europeo, pues pueden entrar a Europa libremente, los que no, tienen que pedir una visa de estudiante. Pero ambos, ya sea que seas europeo o solo peruano, una vez que llegas a España, tienen, por ejemplo, que registrarse ante el municipio donde vayan a vivir para decir que van a vivir ahí. Entonces, el europeo, si tienes pasaporte español, incluso si eres español, tienes que ir a la municipalidad y registrarte para que estés registrado como español residente en España, porque finalmente eras un español residente en Perú, ¿ok? Entonces, pero eso es un trámite, todo eso te ayuda a Student Services, ¿no? Los que tienen su visa de estudiante, esa visa tienen que ir para convertirla en un documento de residente como estudiante. Entonces, tramitar ese documento también Student Services te ayuda a abrir tus cuentas bancarias, ver el tema de la línea telefónica, el celular, qué sé yo, todo ese tipo de cosas, Student Services va a trabajar con ustedes, ¿no? Yo estaba hablando en vez de entrar a donde estaba toda la información. Bueno, acá está, la visa de estudios, los permisos de residencia, el servicio de recojo de aeropuerto, aunque no muchos lo toman porque normalmente viajan con alguno de sus padres para instalarse, la búsqueda de las residencias, esa información te la mandan desde que estás aquí para que puedas ir viendo las diferentes opciones, el seguro médico y la cuenta bancaria. En cuanto a las opciones de alojamiento, bueno, están las residencias universitarias, que es la opción más común, la que la mayoría toma en cuenta, que son, básicamente es como estar en un hotel, ¿no? Tienes tu habitación, con tu baño privado, tienes áreas comunes, te dan alimentación, te limpian la habitación, te lavan las sábanas y toallas una vez por semana. Entonces todo eso es como estar en un hotel, ¿ya? Pero es la opción más cara también. Así que hay otras que pueden ser un poco más baratas, como compartir un departamento con amigos o vivir en una habitación dentro de una casa de familia. Finalmente, cada quien, de acuerdo a lo que quiere y a lo que puede, va a escoger su opción de alojamiento, pero todo eso, Student Services también te va a pasar unas páginas donde puedes ver las diferentes opciones que tenga. Eso que me parece importante también compartirlo, que es información más para los padres, pero igual para que ustedes se lo comuniquen, ¿no? Los precios para el año 2023, los bachelors van a costar 25.000 euros y los dual degrees 30.000 euros. Bueno, ya les dije que la admission fee son 120 y que el place reservation son 2.000 euros, ¿no? El LPT es el Language Proficiency Track, que es una opción que si cuando hacen el proceso de admisión y determina que te falta un poquito en tu nivel de inglés, te admiten con la condición de que te matricules en ese programa, que son 2 o 3 semanas previas al inicio de clases de una inmersión en Business English, ¿no? Y tienes que llegar a IE, como te digo, 2 o 3 semanas antes para llevar ese programa, ¿no? Pero eso ya se comunica en su momento cuando postula. Y bueno, finalmente también la ayuda financiera, todo el tema de las becas está disponible y tiene una fundación a través de la cual se puede otorgar becas para cualquiera de nuestros alumnos. El único requisito es haber conseguido la admisión. No se puede postular una beca hasta que no hayan sido admitidos. Hay muchas opciones de becas, pero solo pueden aplicar hasta 3 de ellas. Y ustedes aplican a 3, pero solo se pueden beneficiar con una, ¿ok? No se pueden sumar las becas. Y normalmente son becas parciales que se mueven para Perú más o menos entre el 20 y el 40% del costo anual de la carrera. Esa beca se puede renovar automáticamente dependiendo de si sacas buenas notas y te puede durar toda la carrera sin necesidad de que la tengas que volver a pedir, ¿ya? Hay casos también de becas directas o direct awards que se comunican junto con la admisión sin que siquiera lo hayas solicitado. Pero esas becas son para la excelencia académica. Si eres excelente, has sido excelente en el cole, entonces cuando te evalúan te comunican la admisión y te dicen que además te han otorgado una beca directamente sin que la pidas, y esas becas sí son más altas, pueden llegar hasta el 75%, ¿ya? En el caso de las becas normales, que eran las que les estaba contando, entre el 20 y el 40%, el comité va a evaluar por un lado sus méritos y por el otro lado la necesidad económica de la familia, ¿no? En el caso de los Direct Awards, no importa si el alumno, el postulante, tiene una situación cómoda y podría pagar sin problemas si es excelente académicamente, se le va a ofrecer una beca, y una beca muy alta, ¿ya? Así que sí hay una recompensa para aquellos que son súper buenos alumnos. Y bueno, nada, aquí está mi correo electrónico, si en caso alguien quisiera hacerme alguna consulta adicional. También si después de revisar esta información y le cuentan a sus padres si ellos quisieran tener una reunión conmigo, pueden escribirme para que programemos una reunión, un Zoom con sus papás y poder explicarles en detalle. Ese código QR es por si desean recibir información de la universidad, puedan registrarse en nuestra base de datos y darnos su autorización o su consentimiento para recibir información de nosotros. Así que el que quiera también lo puede llenar para que hacemos eventos regularmente, vienen profesores, hacemos charlas, entonces si quieren recibir las invitaciones, pues pueden llenar ese formulario. Y eso sería todo de mi parte. Creo que estamos bien de tiempo para que podamos empezar con las preguntas. Y nada, lo que necesiten. Voy a dejar de compartir para poder verlos porque no veo nada. Estoy compartiendo pantalla.
Perfecto, gracias Mónica. Sí, si quieren hacer preguntas, por favor, hay la opción de levantar la mano, podemos abrir su micrófono o también pueden escribir en el chat y así Mónica puede ver también tu pregunta.
Hay algo en el chat ya. A ver. El Dual Degree de Economía y Relaciones Internacionales se realiza por completo en Segovia, o también se podrían llevar algunos años en Madrid. No, los Dual Degrees los que tienen la opción, o sea, se pueden hacer los 5 años en Madrid o se hacen 2 años en Segovia y 3 años en Madrid. En el caso de específicamente de Economía y Relaciones Internacionales, como ambos individualmente tienen la opción de los 2 campus, también la tiene. O sea, o hacen 2 en Segovia y 3 en Madrid, o hacen los 5 en Madrid. ¿Cuánto baja el costo de la carrera con pasaporte europeo? No baja nada. El costo es igual para todos, independientemente de la nacionalidad. Así seas incluso español, no necesariamente solo europeo, incluso español cuesta igual que si eres peruano. Gran presentación, gracias. ¿Qué ocurre si no conseguí 32 puntos en IBC? A ver, ¿ya terminaste el cole? ¿Estás haciendo algo de universidad? Es que depende. Y también depende de cuánto menos de 32. Mira, habría que, se evalúan las cosas si es como un filtro, digamos, los 32 puntos de IB, pero habría que ver, porque de repente si hasta quinto de secundaria con el sistema peruano tus notas están bastante mejor y de repente por X motivo en el IB no te fue tan bien, podrían evaluarte con las notas del sistema peruano, ¿ya? O si ya terminaste el cole y estás haciendo algo de universidad y en la universidad te está yendo súper bien, podría no tener tanto peso el tema del IB si en la universidad te está yendo bien. Pero hay que evaluar el caso, ¿no? No te podría decir tajantemente, darte una respuesta, porque se evalúa caso por caso. ¿Hay equipos deportivos? Sí, o sea, lo que les puse ahí de los clubes es como el extracurricular, ¿no? Tú te inscribes y entrenas, no sé, pues 2, 3 veces a la semana. Ahora, de hecho, además, hay selecciones. Eso ya el entrenador pues decide quién es, pero si llegas a participar de la selección, entonces sí puedes participar de las competencias interuniversitarias, ¿no? De las ligas interuniversitarias en las que IE participa. Sí hay esa posibilidad. ¿Cuál es la duración de los ciclos? El año académico está dividido en 2 semestres, que en realidad son cuatrimestres, no sé, bueno, igual que acá, ¿no? Duran más o menos 4 meses cada semestre. El primero va de inicios de septiembre hasta fines de diciembre. Luego, alrededor del 20-21 de diciembre, empiezan las vacaciones de Navidad y vuelves a clases alrededor del 8-10 de enero. Y ese semestre empieza en esa fecha y dura hasta fines de mayo. Junio, julio y agosto son las vacaciones de verano y son libres. En IE no existen los ciclos de verano, no se puede estudiar en verano, el campus cierra y todo se tiene. Así que solo es 2 semestres por año, no hay, digamos, porque en IE no hay como aquí en Perú, por ejemplo, que si tú jalas un curso, lo tienes que repetir. En IE no se repite, en IE tienes que dar un examen de recuperación al final del año. O sea, si en el semestre de septiembre jalaste, igual en el semestre de enero tú continúas llevando lo que te corresponda llevar, y terminando mayo, los que han jalado se quedan un par de semanas en junio para dar los exámenes de recuperación. Entonces, las carreras están hechas para acabar en los 4 años exactamente. Entonces es como el cole. Cada semestre el IE te dice, estos son tus cursos y eso es lo que tienes que llevar. No es como acá que tú eliges. Este semestre no tengo ganas de llevar tantos cursos y llevaré 4. O quiero trabajar y llevaré 2. O no puedo pagar y llevaré 2. No, no se puede. O sea, son 6 y los 6 los tienes que llevar. Entonces, la carrera sí o sí la terminas en 4 años, ¿ya? ¿Cuál es el enfoque de la nueva carrera de Urban Studies? ¿Más hacia sociología o aspectos sociales? Es más, sí, más hacia aspectos sociales, o sea, el tema de construir pensando en el bienestar común, en el bienestar social, en la sostenibilidad del ambiente y todo eso, ¿no? En hacer smart cities, en ver de qué forma podemos hacer crecer la ciudad de una manera responsable, ¿no? Está enfocado por ese lado. No tanto hacia arquitectura, porque eso ya tenemos la carrera de arquitectura. Aunque igual de todas maneras van a haber temas de diseño y todo eso, ¿no? Pero va más enfocado hacia desarrollar ciudades o comunidades más sostenibles y más socialmente responsables. ¿En qué me beneficiaría tener pasaporte español? Pues en que no tienes que tramitar visa. Nada más. En realidad, nada más. En que no hay... El pasaporte europeo ahorita para nosotros te exonera el trámite de la visa, pero... Y bueno, y que obviamente te puedes quedar allá después sin ningún tipo de restricción, a trabajar, a seguir estudiando, a hacer lo que quieras, pues no hay que pedir permiso para nada, ¿no? Incluso, o sea, siendo español o europeo. Pero para temas de costos o tener más posibilidades de ser admitido o mejores opciones para beca, no. Es igual para todos. Soy deportista seleccionada desde hace muchos años. Los últimos años del colegio viajé muchísimo. La IE toma en cuenta ese tipo de casos. A ver, no sé si entiendo bien la pregunta. Si el IE toma en cuenta ese tipo de casos, en caso de que quieras ir a IE, si te va a dejar o te va a dar permisos para seguir viajando, si es que te refieres a eso, o si te refieres como creo que tú fuiste el que me preguntaste del tema de del IB, de la nota del IB, si es que por ser deportista destacado podrían considerar eso como un plus para no ver la parte académica. Mira, lo que sucede, a ver si lo contesto en los dos aspectos de que se me ocurre que podría contestarte. En general en Europa no tiene la misma cultura que tiene Estados Unidos, por ejemplo, con respecto al deporte, ¿no? O sea, no está estructurado así la vida universitaria como para generar deportistas de alto rendimiento, ¿no? Y que la idea es que, bueno, que estudien, porque obviamente es importante que estudien, pero tratan de llevarlos hacia un nivel profesional como deportistas, ¿no? En Europa y en IE no es así. Por lo tanto, si eres deportista de alto rendimiento y te quieres dedicar a eso, más que a la parte académica, pueden darte algunos permisos, pero no vas a tener esa facilidad de perder clases libremente, digamos, solo porque tengas una competencia o tengas que viajar. Entonces, no sería, si lo que quieres es dedicarte al deporte y tener, digamos que el backing de los estudios, no sería ahí la universidad indicada para ti porque no desarrolla el tema del deporte de esa manera. Estoy llenando el application form y tengo una duda. Si he puesto mis dos nacionalidades, peruana e italiana, pues las pongo como nacional principal. Pues eso decídelo tú. Yo pensaría que, que tu nacionalidad principal es peruana, ¿no? Entonces, lo que deberías poner es peruana y automáticamente, ¿no? Se abre la segunda nacionalidad, pones la italiana, te va a pedir la foto del pasaporte. Yo sugeriría, como solo te permite subir un archivo, que pongas primero en un solo archivo las dos fotos, o sea, que pongas los dos pasaportes y subas ese archivo ya con los dos pasaportes, pero cuando te pida el número de pasaporte, sí pongas el pasaporte italiano, porque finalmente ese será el documento con el que vas a estar en España, con el que vas a ingresar a España, va a ser con tu pasaporte italiano, ¿no? Entonces el número sí pon el italiano, pero después la información de las nacionalidades pon las dos. Y da igual si pusieras, o sea, si quieres poner que el italiano es tu principal, pues lo puedes hacer, ¿no? Pero, o sea, tú eso elígelo como tú quieras, no, es indistinto. Ok, una de las razones por las cuales tus notas no eran altas, por el deporte, por el tiempo que dedicaste al deporte. Bueno, podría ser, de hecho, si llegas a la entrevista, tú puedes explicar que efectivamente estás muy metido en el deporte y que por eso el rendimiento académico no fue el esperado, ¿no? Y que ahora en adelante piensas hacer un cambio y de repente ya sí dedicarte más a los estudios. O sea, sí se puede. O sea, sí se puede entender que las notas no sean tan altas por ese motivo, ¿no? Eso sí se puede entender. Pero por eso habría que ver qué tan bajas son. O sea, si me dices que no sacaste 32, que te quedaste en 30, pero si me dices que te quedaste en 25, desde ya te diría que con el 25 sí no se va a poder hacer nada. Llegué un poco tarde, ¿podría volver a explicar lo del housing, por favor? Sí, bueno, a ver, el tema del housing es una cuestión personal. La mayoría de los chicos, por lo menos cuando recién llega, la opción que toma es la de la residencia universitaria, que lo que decía es como un hotel, ¿no? Son edificios que tienen habitaciones y baños privados y áreas comunes. Y les dan la alimentación porque tienen cafeterías, les sirven desayuno y cena normalmente porque el almuerzo siempre estás en el campus a esa hora, entonces normalmente almuerzas en el campus de la universidad. A menos que escojas una residencia que sea de IE y por lo tanto te dan las 3 comidas al día, ¿ya? Porque igual te dan, o sea, comes en la cafetería de la universidad, pero están incluidas las 3. Si es una residencia que no es de IE, te dan desayuno y cena y el almuerzo ya tienes que comerlo en IE. Bueno, si quieres, ¿no? No puedes ir a tu habitación y comer ahí, pero no es lo lógico, digamos. Pero también hay, aparte, otras opciones que pueden ser, como decía, alquilar departamentos o vivir en casas de familia en una habitación con una familia, que son familias además que están perfectamente identificadas, con las que venimos haciendo esto hace muchos años y están totalmente registradas en IE, así que tampoco no vayan a sentir temor porque no hay riesgo. Cubrí todas las preguntas. Y me quedan 3 minutos. ¿Algo más, chicos? Para si no lograron tomar nota de mis datos, les dejo aquí en el chat mi mail. De todas maneras, Gale y Andrew también lo tienen. Así que, pero si necesitan contactarme, me pueden escribir ahí directamente. Oh my God. ¿Qué cosa es el CRAES? Perdón la ignorancia, no sé qué es.
Es complicado, es complejo el CRAEST, pero es la nota ponderada que tiene la católica para saber más o menos cuánto de promedio tiene cada uno de los chicos. Entonces
Ok,
lo hace, ajá,
ya,
claro,
porque
lo hace,
puede ser top 10, pero estar en menos de 14.
ajá, por ejemplo, en un curso en el que, no sé, por ejemplo, economía, así que las notas van de repente entre 12, 11, así, si te sacas 14, ya estás como que en décimo superior de, como, comparado con esa población, ¿no? A eso más o menos se refiere.
Bueno,
Por ahí
pero
es
en
donde
ese
va.
caso, si fuera así, sí sería bueno presentar el documento que diga, ¿no? Que efectivamente, pues, o sea, cuánto era la media de la clase o
Mm,
de la promoción para saber que tú estabas por encima de la media, aun cuando tu puntaje numéricamente no sea, digamos, a ojos de ellos tan
claro,
alto, ¿no?
ajá. Claro, pero comparado con los demás sí es como sobresaliente, por así decirlo.
Claro.
Ujú. Ya, perfecto. Bueno, eso. Hay más preguntitas. A ver. Claro, por ahora creo que no.
Bueno,
Sí.
nada, espero haberlos ayudado, absuelto sus dudas y ya saben que cualquier cosa que necesiten, contactan a sus coaches ahí en SCORE y ellos los contactan conmigo o me escriben directamente como quieran, yo encantada de ayudarlos.
Muchísimas gracias, Mónica. Y gracias a todos también por venir. En verdad, la charla excelente. Ya de todas maneras te vamos a estar contactando, como siempre. Así que muchas gracias.
Sí, claro.
Bien,
Gracias,
a
Mónica.
todos, de nada, Andrew, solo una última cosita, a todos los que ya estén llenando aplicación, el jueves va a haber un application workshop donde vamos a dar tips para el llenado de la aplicación, para que lo puedan terminar, y el 17 de diciembre va a haber un admission day, si es que quieren participar, porque si hacen entrevistas ese día, las respuestas salen en solo una semana. Eso es. Así que el
Buenísimo.
que quiera me escribe para preguntarme detalles.
Perfecto.
De nada, chicos, un gusto. Gracias por venir.
Muchas gracias, Mónica. Muchas gracias a todos. Chao,
Listo,
Chao,
cuídense.
gracias.
chao.
Y por favor, no se vayan porque tenemos 2 exposiciones más de universidades de Estados Unidos. Tenemos ahorita las 7 Niagara University y luego vamos a tener también the University of New Mexico. Entonces, están todos invitados a seguir aquí conectados para ver esas 2 exposiciones para cerrar esta noche.
Hello. I'm well. How are you? Good to see you again, too. I love the video that you put together for us. Thank you so much. Good. That's good to see. Looks like we have a good handful here already. Love that. what he thought. Oh, good. From what I heard, he liked it. I didn't get too much of a feedback from him. I didn't ask him. I haven't really talked to him about it. We've been so busy, but I'll be sure to. Huh? I've been, so I was away and then I came home and then I was in the office for one day. Then they sent me back on the road for a week. So it was, pretty busy, but now I finally don't have any flights booked, or it feels kind of weird right now. But it's good to be home for real. I got to the point where I was waking up and I was like, where am I? Started in like 2 more minutes. Let me just put a link in for our friends who are here. So if they already know what they want, some information, they can give it. Let's see. I have a million tabs open at once, so I'm trying to like navigate. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm trying. See, I've heard that once you start getting more than one, you like can't stop. So I've been forcing myself to only stick to my one, because when I'm traveling, I know I'd be like, oh, I wish I was home. Oh, the one that slides? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Once you get used to it, there's like so we'll wait like 1 more minute to see if anybody else wants to hop on. Oh, that's fine. Making it nice and simple. You can just kind of hang out, take a brain break, grab a snack. We'll get started right at 7. Okay, so hi everyone who's here. My name is Bridget. I'm the Assistant Director of International Enrollment here at NU. So my job is to recruit and read applications and everything like that for students who are first-year undergraduate students. My territory is the entire world outside of the US and Canada, so you guys would all be assigned to me. Hooray! So if you have questions or anything like that, I'm your go-to gal. All of my contact information is right on here, so you can reach me on my email. It's Gorman, just my last name, at niagara.edu. I am on WhatsApp, so if you prefer a little bit more casual conversation texting, you can always reach out to me at that number. But the best way to reach me if you want more immediate and faster answers is to schedule a one-on-one Zoom meeting with me by going to niagara.edu/meetbridget. I have 30-minute time slots each day where I sit down and I wait to chat with you guys. So I promise I'm there. So if you sign up, I will be there. I will be there. So if you have questions about application statuses or anything like that, we can definitely connect that way too. So here's the information that I have today. Feel free to put questions in the chat box as they come, so that way you don't forget your questions and then I can touch on them at the end, or if they fit kind of what I'm talking about right now, I can answer them pretty much as I go. But I have a quick overview of NU. And I know the most exciting thing to learn about is what will my life be like during my time at the university and things like that, because academics are always super important. But if you're going all the way to the other side of the world, you also might want to know what your day-to-day might involve. So I'll be talking about student life, so basic requirements of our application process, and I know super important. We all want to know what scholarships we qualify for, so I'll be touching on that today as well. So we are Niagara University. We're located in Lewiston, New York, right near the city of Niagara Falls, and we're actually right on the border of the United States and Canada. I see Canada every single day from campus. That means that we're about a 7-minute drive away from Niagara Falls, which is super cool. So if anyone has been to Niagara Falls and wants to experience it again, you've already been about 7 minutes away from our campus, which is super cool. We experience all 4 seasons because we're in the northeastern United States. We have a winter, a spring, a summer, and fall. Right now, we're in that really fun and exciting between fall and winter phase right now. So I have a student from India who is reaching out to me, and she said, I don't know if I can handle the cold. I'm like, you know what? You can never have too many layers on. So she and I are going to schedule. Andrew's like, yep, I've experienced that. So she and I are going to have a lunch, and we're going to figure out some different ways to stay warm during the time. Heated blankets are a savior to some of our students and things like that too. But we do get really hot summers that go all the way up sometimes to 90 degrees Fahrenheit and things like that too. So you will have a wide variety of different climates to experience during your time here. In our academics, we follow a liberal arts curriculum. This means that we want you to be a really well-rounded student. You'll have an undergraduate program that you want to study, so a major within our 5 colleges, which is we have a College of Business, a College of Nursing, College of Hospitality, Tourism, and Sport Management, our College of Education, and I'm forgetting one. I'm going crazy right now. Our College of Arts and Sciences was our absolutely largest college right now. And those programs in the College of Arts and Sciences, they range anywhere from biology to performing arts as well. So there's a lot of different programs that you can choose from. But what's really good about looking into the liberal arts universities is that we want to make sure that you are exposed to a great foundational curriculum. So you'll take math, sciences, history classes. We also have philosophy classes built into that curriculum as well, cultural diversity, language, so that we will be a really, really good adaptable employee wherever you go. So if you last minute want to take a totally different career path, when you graduate, kind of like what I did, last minute, you will have all the tools that you need to succeed in whatever you want to do. So this totals to about 8 different programs that you can choose from. We also have a really great undecided program, which I will touch on in just a second. Our campus culture, we are a very warm family feel type community. If you really love the small town feel, but not so small that everybody's in each other's business, will be a really great fit for you as well. We are founded by the Catholic Ascension Fathers. This means that our community has a really, really strong dedication to community service. So you don't have to be Catholic to attend our university or anything like that. We're not going to make you go to mass or anything, but we want to make sure that we are creating worldly leaders during their time here too. So by the numbers, these are the super important numbers that you might always ask. So we have an 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So for every 11 students, so if there's a group of 11 students, they will be guaranteed to have 1 professor to sit down with them. With our total undergraduate enrollment being about 2,700 undergraduate students, this makes our average class size about 18 students each. So you'll really have that really great individualized support during your time here. And if you really benefit from your teachers knowing your name right now, say that you're going to a smaller school and you have a lot more individualized support and time to sit with your teacher after class or during your lunch or something like that, guaranteed to have their individualized time, would be a great fit for you. And then we have a really pretty number that we're very proud of. It's our 98% job placement rate upon graduation. This might not be directly on your radar right now. You might still be figuring out what you want to study and things like that too, but it's really important to have your future goals set in mind wherever you choose to study. So with this 98% job placement rate, this means within 1 year of graduation, our students are enrolled in law school, medical school, graduate school, or working in the field that they had studied directly upon graduation, which is awesome. This speaks a lot to our career services office. So that means that we give a lot of really great guidance to make sure that students know the specific goals that they're working towards, because right now, like I said, you're worried about, what do I want to study? I don't know. And then you're like, take a deep breath. I've submitted my applications. I know what I want to do. But then you get to university and you're like, wait, what am I working towards? So this is when we start connecting you with our career services office super early on, so you know directly what you are working towards as well. And Andrew, you're welcome to jump in with any thoughts, anything to build on. I'm super casual about this too. We'd love to have you. Awesome. But yeah, if you have anything to add, any other pointers, I know you're a great college counselor, anything that's important, you're more than welcome to kind of build on this. I'm super casual with presentations. You guys are welcome to turn on cameras, unmute, ask questions. More than happy to chat with you guys too. So that's kind of us by the numbers. Again, we're that smaller private university as well. So now what would your life be like? So say that you finally decide to become a Purple Eagle. The big question would be, okay, what would my time be like here as a student? So obviously academics is most important. So I'm going to talk about that first. You'll have a lot of different experiential learning opportunities. This means that you'll have really great dedicated faculty during your time here. So like I said, we have an 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio. It means you'll really have great individualized support during your time here. So we really emphasize advisement massively here at NU. Some universities, they have a separate building where they have last names, maybe A through L, and they just make sure that you're taking the classes that you need to graduate on time, which is great, but we kind of want to go the extra mile. So say that you are studying biology, we are going to assign you one of your biology professors as your academic advisor. Their job is not only to make sure that you're taking the classes to stay on track to graduate on time, but their job is also to make sure that you're taking classes that are a really good fit for you. We don't want you to be taking classes that are so easy that you kind of sit back, coast by. We want you to grow, but we also don't want to challenge you so much that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to make it to final exams. We don't want to have any experiences like that during your time here. So that's super, super important to have the right guidance in terms of making sure you're taking classes that are a good fit for you. Their job is also make sure that you're achieving all of your academic goals. If you want to do a kind of like inception of study abroad within your study abroad, maybe you want to spend like one semester in Italy or something like that, or you want to take a class that has a study abroad built into it the first 2 weeks of summer. You can totally do that. Just have that communication with your advisor during your time here, and it's their job to make sure that you're achieving all of your academic goals as well. So I mentioned a really great undecided program. We call it our academic exploration program. We are nationally recognized for this. So you're probably open to the idea of coming to the United States, but family might have reservations sending you so far away if you don't know what you need to study. I always say sometimes it's better for you to figure out what you don't want to do than focus on what you already enjoy. So the academic exploration program, you start in that, you apply as basically an undecided student, and we give you really, really great advisement to make sure that you're taking quizzes to figure out your likes, dislikes, balancing out your values, what you enjoy doing, and then they place you in your first major. Through the academic exploration program, you actually get to fully test different majors before you make a final decision. So say that you are enjoying biology right now in school and you're like, okay, I'm kind of vibing with biology. Maybe I want to major in it. We're going to pop you in biology, treat you as if you were a biology major for a whole semester. We'll give you a white lab coat, gloves, goggles. You'll do the labs, all the classes as if you were a full-on biology major for that semester. You might step back and say, yep, I love it. I'm going to declare that as my major. And then you're done. You tested it. That's what you want to do. But say you're like, I'm not vibing with biology at all anymore. I did the labs. It was just too much for me. I don't speak the science language as well as I thought I did. I'm going to switch all the way over to teaching. So we will put you in the classrooms. You'd be treated as if you were a full education major for that semester. You would have the study schedule, the professors, the classmates, the whole experience before you make that final decision. You can be in this program for 2 years. So if you have no clue what you want to do and you have to test drive everything before you make a final decision, or maybe you're tossing up between 2 different majors, this program is going to be absolutely stellar for you. All of my friends who went through this program when I went to NU, they absolutely loved it. They didn't want to leave it because they just loved the different possibilities, and the advisors are absolutely outstanding in the academic exploration program. So if you are prepared to go to university directly upon graduation, but you aren't 100% confident in what you want to study, even if you have a 1 or 2% doubt, I say that this is going in undecided is always a great idea for you as well. We also have a lot of really great research opportunities for students. So if you're interested usually in the sciences and things like that, there's going to be a lot of research opportunities for our students. My one friend, she was a psychology major, and she went up to a professor at the end of class one day, and she was like, hey, what are you working on? Do you need my help? I want to help you. And all of a sudden she was published at the age of 19, and people are quoting her in papers, which is super, super crazy. So now she's in graduate school, and then she's going to move on to her PhD. She's super fancy and makes me wonder, what the heck? What am I doing with my life? So if research wants to be the foundation of your time in university, there's definitely going to be those opportunities for you if you're willing to advocate for yourself and look for them. And then, like I mentioned, there's going to be field experience and internship opportunities too. If you want to dive into internships and things like that early on in your time here, I always say just go right to career services and see what your options are, and then connect with your academic advisor to move forward from there. So that's kind of like really big experiential learning, a lot of really, really great guidance during your time here too. I put pictures of my time here to prove to you guys that I am not lying. So these are all true. So we have a lot of really great leadership opportunities on our campus. Some of the most popular options are our Niagara University Student Government Association. So they plan all of our really huge traditions events. They also work super tightly with our administration. So if there's any big changes that need to be had on campus. I know during my time as a student, we had one of our residence halls. There was this big field between the residence hall and our science building, and students, because we want to be efficient, we didn't want to take the lap around campus in order to get to the academic building. So a lot of students were walking through 2-3 feet of snow in order to get to class on certain days. Our student government was like, maybe that's not the best student experience for our peers. So we're going to put a sidewalk in from that residence hall to the science building. And they built that up, and now it's one of the most used sidewalks on our campus. So students really do make a difference during their time here. We also have campus programming board, which I'll go a little bit more in depth on in a minute. They do all of our fun events on campus. That's led by my dear friend Bill Newton in our campus activities office. And then you can actually create your own club. So if there's something that you really enjoy doing after class right now, maybe it's something cultural, or I'm really asking someone to start a kayaking club. If you want to get started on the kayaking club and you like kayaking, you can put founder of the kayaking club on your resume. That's super awesome. And then I'll come out and I'll help you guys kayak. That'd be awesome. So you can create your own club, which is really, really great leadership opportunity. You just need yourself, 10 friends. You go to my guy, Bill Newton, in campus activities, let him know, hey, I want to start this club. He's like, great, that's super awesome. And then you present it to the Student Government Association, and then you're all set, good to go. You have your own club. We also have a lot of really great on-campus employment opportunities. So in every single one of these pictures, it looks like I'm having a lot of fun. I'm actually getting paid in all of them, which is pretty cool. So in this picture on the right, I was a campus tour guide. Everyone qualifies to be a campus tour guide. Anyone can apply. It doesn't matter if you're a domestic or international student. We actually have about, I think, 3 international students on our tour guide team right now, which is super awesome. These bottom 2 pictures, I was serving as an orientation leader, so I did that for 2 years. It is the most fun job on the planet as well. And then I also was a leader in our Student Government Association during my time here, where I got to help plan all of our concerts on campus and festivals and all that stuff too. So traditions are really great and huge here. Huge on events. So Andrew got to experience Ridge Day on our campus. So we do orientation like no other. So we bring you guys on campus in 2 phases. So when you arrive as an international student, you come a whole week before everybody else. You will experience international student orientation, where we take you, introduce you to our campus, give you tools on how to set up a bank account, those kinds of things. But of course, you'll probably want to explore the area because we have one of the natural wonders of the world less than 10 minutes away from our campus. So of course, we're going to take you on the Maid of the Mist to experience Niagara Falls and everything like that. So we usually take our international students there, and then they go and they experience, like we all get dinner together and things like that too. This year we did a traditional barbecue right on our campus, which was a lot of fun for our students. But during the school year, you will then meet our domestic students, which we then bring on campus about 3 days before classes start for new student orientation, lovingly known as NSO. At NSO, you're placed into larger groups where you kind of get built-in friends. So it's that are led by an orientation leader. So you kind of get to build those connections early on instead of just tossing you in and saying, okay, have fun, make your connections. You'll have group meetings, so you'll kind of have a little bit of a home base during your transition to time here as a student. We'll give you guys some seminars to assist you with your overall transition to Niagara University. And then we always cap it off with a really fun Ridge Day, which you can check out on Andrew's video on the SCORE YouTube as well. So we have a lot of really fun events that introduce you to our university. But during your time here, we do a lot of great late night Niagara programming. So we have every single Friday night, usually around 9 or 10 p.m. If you're don't have any big weekend plans, a lot of our students like to hang out on campus. It might be game show events, movie nights. We've had magicians come, hypnotists, you name it. we've done everything on Friday nights. My favorite has always been our outdoor movie nights, where we get a big projector and students bring their blankets out and we kind of camp out between our two residence halls and they do that. Grocery bingo is a huge tradition on our campus. So we do that once a semester. If you know the game of bingo, have bingo at the top and they call the numbers, and then you pull your tab down once your bingo letter and number have been called. But say you get 4 in a row and you say bingo, but then another peer says bingo, you technically are supposed to win $100 worth of groceries. Do you really want to split those groceries though? So what we're going to do is we're going to call you down to the front of the room with your co-winner, and you'll do a dance off. And then by audience applause, they're going to choose who wins $100 worth of groceries. And it's all the food that you need, right? It's your Cheez-Its, your ramen noodles, your Easy Max, your Gatorade, all the really great college food is in there. So that's really fun. And it's crazy to see the things that people do for free food. So that's one of our most attended events on our campus. But we always have pizza and fun food giveaways at all these events too. But we also have a little bit of a big school feel. Because we do have Division I sports on our campus. So this is kind of like pre-professional level athletics. This picture right here is from one of our basketball games. Our most popularly attended games are basketball and ice hockey for students as well, which are always a good time. And then, of course, we have to do the Northeastern traditions. We always do ice skating, usually once a semester for our students as well, even in the summer, which is kind of crazy. So that's kind of the events that happen on our campus. And then, of course, I have to touch on our location one more time, because why not? There's going to be a lot of really great opportunities to travel. So with our proximity being so close to Buffalo, New York, which is about 30 minutes south of our campus, we have some professional sports teams. So if you are hoping to experience an American football game, we have the American football team of the Buffalo Bills not too far away from us. We had a really tough game on Sunday. I'm still recovering from it. I was there. I had to watch it. It's tough. But those events are really fun. We actually took the Niagara University students to that game as well. So they had a lot of fun experiencing that together with a lot of their classmates. So we brought 50 students to that game. We also are known as the educational partner, the official educational partner of the Buffalo Sabres ice hockey team. So we always take students to professional ice hockey games each year as well. And then now that our border is open, we have traditionally opened our students up to the opportunity to travel to Toronto for professional baseball games to see the Toronto Blue Jays as well. So we're about an hour and a half south of Toronto, so which isn't too far, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And then the cities that students most often travel to is of course primarily Buffalo, New York, which is about a half an hour south, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which is about an hour and a half north, New York City. So this picture here is from my trip to New York City my freshman year with my friends. They traditionally do a trip for all the freshmen and sophomores each year, or first year and second year students each year, and that's about a 6-hour drive away. And then we've typically done a trip to Boston either junior or senior year, which is about an 8-hour drive away. So we typically have done bus trips and weekend trips and things like that. So if you're hoping to explore more of the Northeast, you can definitely experience that as well. And then, of course, I had to toss in a view of one of our games that we went to as a group here at NU. So that's kind of the student experience, and I'll move on to the application process. So if anyone has questions about student experience or anything like that, you can definitely pop that in the chat box for me, and I'll definitely touch on that as well. For our application process, we are rolling admission. This means that we review all of our applications as they come in. So as soon as you submit all of your necessary materials, you're placed in a queue, and then the students who submit all their materials soonest are moved to the top of that as well. We are SAT test optional, but if you plan to come to the US, sometimes visa officers are asking you to submit SAT scores. So I always say it's a good idea to at least take the test so you have some sort of score to present to maybe outside scholarships or private scholarships or your visa officer or additional things. You take the test. If you're not proud of your scores and you don't want me to see them, great. I was a really high achieving student in secondary school and I took the SAT and I bombed it. Like when I say I bombed it, like it was not good at all. I was not proud of it. So I totally understand if you don't think it's an accurate representation of your abilities or anything like that. I do not see test optional applications as anything less than a application with test scores. So that's up to you to consider. They do have an impact on scholarship, which I'll touch on in a minute. And then our remaining required materials. So there's 2 ways that you can apply to Niagara University, and both are free. So even if you're a little bit interested and you're already working on the Common App, you can always just toss us on. The Common App is my recommendation for you guys because it allows you to apply to a lot of different types of universities in just one click. But if you are specifically interested in Niagara University, you can visit niagara.edu/apply and then select the international student application. We'll need your official transcripts and leaving certificates sent by your school so they can email those to our admissions office at admissions@niagara.edu. We do need the official ones for review. Letters of recommendation are super important as well. I always say 2 to 3 is best. And then we'd also like to see a personal essay that's about 1 page in length. Now, depending on how you were taught, if your medium of instruction was English for every single one of the classes that you have taken throughout all 4 years of your secondary school, that's great. I'll be able to waive that requirement for you if I get an official letter from your school. But we prefer to see your English proficiency examination scores presented either as an IELTS, a TOEFL, or the Duolingo exam. I personally recommend the Duolingo exam. It's a lot more affordable and it's a lot more flexible and you can do it in the comfort of your own home. But some universities are a lot more selective. So IELTS is the most popular that I see. Then probably close second would be Duolingo, and then TOEFL I see every once in a while as well. It's my job to assist you through the application process. So if you have any questions, reservations, things like that, you can always reach out to me directly and I'm always happy to help you guys. So scholarships, I know this is what we are most excited about. Woohoo! I love giving these out. So our scholarships for international students are currently merit-based. They are incredibly generous. They range from $12,000 to $24,000 a year guaranteed all 4 years. There's nothing extra that you would need to do. All you need to do is apply to our university and we take your transcripts and your SAT score if you submit your SAT score. We have a fancy chart that we use to calculate which merit-based scholarship. Basically, it's a reward for your efforts in secondary school. So if you are a high achiever, obviously we're going to give you a higher award. If you're not sure if you should apply your SAT score to your application, you can always send it over to me and I can give you a quick opinion. I can't make any specific recommendations, but sometimes students don't double check with me. And I love doing this. And I always double check the calculations in our merit scholarships. I want to make sure that I'm giving you the best deal possible because I was a student just like you. So if there's a game changer in your application, obviously I'm going to present you with that opportunity. So say that you apply with your SAT marks and your SAT marks are just not it, kind of like mine. And they don't line up or they're not better than whatever your marks were in secondary school. You and I have been in tight communication. I recognize your name on your application. I'm like, oh my gosh, so excited to see that they applied. Oh no, they submitted their SAT scores, that bumps them down in scholarship. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my phone. I'm going to give you a call and I'll say, hey, Valentina, how's it going? This is Bridget from NU. I'm looking at your application and I could maybe give you $3,000 more or $6,000 more a year if you wanted to switch to test optional. Would you be interested in that? And then you say no, and then you hang up because you don't want more money. No. Of course you're going to want more money. So I'm going to offer you that opportunity. All that I would need of you would be to email me and say, I would like to switch my application to test optional, and then I can edit your merit-based scholarship. I want to make sure I'm giving you the best deal possible. And then if you are currently in your final year of secondary school right now. This scholarship is still available. So there's an Eagle Experience Scholarship that international students qualify for. All that you need to do is schedule a one-on-one virtual meeting with me or attend one of our virtual visits and apply by November 20th. And then I give you $5,000 spread across 4 years. Super, super easy to do. As long as you meet that deadline, submit the application. I don't need your transcripts or anything like that on top of that. If you apply and you visit us virtually before that deadline, yay, you just earn yourself $5,000. Super easy to do. And then I always like to do a little plug. So sometimes I do a lot of the talking, but you might want to hear from someone who's living and learning in our community right now. So I do have a student assistant. Her name is Ella, and she's from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And she loves connecting with you guys. So she put some of her information in here to kind of help you get to know her. But she does have her own Zoom link times available if you want to meet with her. It's the same link as mine, but she has times right now on Mondays and Tuesdays if you want to sit and chat with her virtually as well. So that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Before we go to that, I just wanted to chip in one more thing with regards to that student support. While I was on campus, I also got to meet a guy named Dilip, who I thought was just an absolutely wonderful person. He takes care of all the international affairs over there, right? If I'm not mistaken, that was his role there at the international office, and just has a ton of care and concern for international students, very involved in their situation, their activities, their needs. So you definitely have a really good support system at the university here too. And I think that's also even more true when you're dealing with smaller universities like Niagara, where they can actually get to know you and care about you on an individual level. It's a little harder to do when, there's 50,000 people running around. So yeah, definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. And that's so true. Like, Dulip is super approachable, and he might have vice president in his title, but man, is he so eager to be there and communicating with you guys and all of our current students and things like that. So he is a super great resource for our international students on campus. And on top of that additional support, we actually have peer mentors right in our Brennan Center and International Relations office. So they're current international students who kind of have the expertise in helping you adjust to your time in the United States. So academic culture is like a whole separate form of culture. There's the social culture, there's the academic culture, and then there's professional culture. So they are kind of, if you need additional help with classes or things like that, tutoring, their role is pretty much to help you and assist you through the academic transition to the U.S. standards and things like that. So that's a really, really great opportunity in our international office for students to take advantage of. It looks like I do have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Did someone? If somebody sent you,
I do have one question.
Go for it.
About reward, do you consider all secondary school period or only last year? So it's a good question. So I like to see your marks. If you're in the 12-year track, I like to see marks from 9, 10, and 11, and then you would be applying during year 12. So I don't need your year 12 marks just yet. But I would need your final transcript should you choose to become a Purple Equal, and then we would just validate that. But I would need 9, 10, and 11 marks. And then I have to see that you've taken an English course, a history course, a science course, and a math course as well. So I like to see that at least spread across all 4 years. Ideally, if you've taken one of those each of the years, that's great. But as long as you have those core liberal arts courses in there, that's important. It's a good question. Does anyone have anything else?
I actually kind of had a question on behalf of some of our people here. We get a lot of interest, in medicine in general. And I think a lot of international students sometimes don't realize how difficult it can be to actually carry a medicine, study program all the way to the end and actually do a residency due to visa challenges and things of that nature. And a lot of times I've encouraged people to look at nursing programs as a possible alternative because that can get you kind of established. I thought maybe you could tell them a little bit more about that kind of situation, like what is involved in becoming maybe an actual doctor in the U.S., especially from an international student's perspective, and maybe why to consider a nursing program. I know you have a very good one there at Niagara too.
We really do. Okay. So to be a doctor, it's a long process, I'll put it that way. So it takes about 8 years of study to become a doctor in the United States. So you would get your undergraduate degree probably in like biology, biochemistry. And this is pretty much the same across every university. Then once you arrive at university, you declare the pre-med track. This is kind of a second advisor on top of your academic advisor to make sure that you have all the tools that you need to succeed, and things like that, and be on track for medical school. Then once you graduate from undergraduate, I believe you have to forget what the test is called, but there's a test that you have to take in order to get into medical school. And then you apply for medical school. It's kind of like starting university all over again. Then there's courses that you need to take. There's foundational courses. Then you choose what track you want. Then you complete a residency where you start shadowing doctors and things like that. And then you officially get your MD or whichever finalized path for you to take. It's complicated and it's long. I always recommend, if you're interested in becoming a doctor, do your undergraduate in whatever part of the world you want. And then do your medical school whatever country you want to practice, because there will be different like values, there will be different instruments, there will be different medications, different blah, 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 laws even that you would need to master. Might be kind of tough to do your medical school in one country, then hop to another and say, oh, this is completely different. It's like you would have to go back to school. It's super competitive to enter into medical school in the United States. I believe only 10 universities in the United States accept international students into their medical schools. So that's just something to consider. It is competitive, but it's doable. If you are impressive and you put your heart and soul into it, and that's something that's really important to you, it's definitely possible. If you want a lot more flexibility in terms of what you want to do, there's kind of two options that you want. There's a physician's assistant, which has a lot of the same roles as a doctor. You're in school for probably only 5 or 6 years instead of 8. And then it's just like usually a 1 or 2 year postgraduate program that you can take. And then there's nursing, which is kind of our bread and butter here at NU as well. So in our nursing program, our students are directly admitted. So in some schools, you apply to the nursing program and you take your general education courses, and then you apply to the nursing program kind of like a second time. And then you might get accepted into it later. But then what happens if you don't get accepted into it? You kind of hit this crossroads where you're like, do I stay with my friends and have the foundation that I have here, change the entire path of my life? Or do I leave where I am and go someplace completely new in order to pursue what I want to do? So that's something to consider. But with our nursing program, you get started in those classes right away. And we start putting you in the labs, I believe, starting the second semester of your freshman year. These simulation labs are super cool. The moms give birth, babies choke, they code, you have to do CPR and all that stuff. It's kind of practice panicking before you're working on real people. That's basically what sim lab is all about. And then we put you into the real hospitals. Right now, we have a new dean, so this might change. But we're putting you into the real hospitals, working with real patients, usually the second semester of your second year, which is really cool. So your fourth semester with us. You're entering into the hospitals. We've all had nurses probably who hate their jobs. We do not want to create nurses like that. So if you have any doubt as to if you're not sure if you want to be a nurse and you need a lot more of those experiential hands-on learning opportunities, will be a great fit for you as well. So with the nursing program, there's a lot of different things that you can do with it. You can be OB, you can be in the NICU, you can be in the burn unit, you can be in the ER, you can be pediatrics. There's a lot more flexibility to kind of move and meld and fit your nursing path into as well. But yes, very good question, Andrew. We get that a lot.
Yeah,
I do have one more. Whoops, sorry, go ahead.
No, I said thanks for the great explanation. Go right ahead.
And then we have Niagara University in some rating as one of the best universities in the US. So since we're a small university, we don't have a big national ranking because those are more for like the big name type universities. But for us, we are actually we were rated the best value university in New York State. And that means that our students aren't paying a lot to come here. That means that we're making sure that we're giving them the best financial aid opportunities possible as well. So when you apply, you'll be presented with your acceptance letter and your merit-based scholarship that'll range between $12,000 and $24,000. And it's okay to ask us for more money. So we have a process that students go through. They write a letter, they submit a CSS profile. Then if we're super tight, I write a letter about you as well and say, hey, they were class president and they did this volunteer opportunity. They're awesome. I think they'll contribute XYZ to our university. And you can go through that process as well. It may not be not much additional aid. We don't have too much that we can give on top of that as well. But affordability, I know, isn't super important in a lot of your decisions. So that is something that we are very proud of here. And that's all the questions I have in my queue right now. Does anyone else have any other questions? Feel free to unmute if you want.
Yeah. And if I can add my usual just quick minute rant about rankings in the United States, because I think it's important to contextualize. Like, the ranking systems are very heavily favoring universities that are larger because larger universities can output a greater volume of research, right? Because research is one of the things that moves you the most in the rankings. There's other factors, but if you compare those other factors, right, things like employability, debt, student-faculty ratio, then you see a small university competes just as well, if not better, in a lot of cases than some of the big universities. But because of the weight given to research, then naturally the university with the most professors doing more research is going to move up higher in those rankings. And so I think that's something important to point out, that you can have good research opportunities at a small university, but just because of that sheer difference in the number, a larger institution is going to have a higher position. And I often feel like that's not necessarily the most important factor for an undergraduate student, especially. You want to get that hands-on experience and get ready to work. So something to think about, I think, when we evaluate places based on rankings. It's important to think about what those are actually measuring.
That's a really good explanation. And I always say rankings are great to take a peek at to start your search, but you want to make sure that you're going to a university that has the resources there that will help you to succeed. So if rankings are super important to you, you can start your search that way and then kind of narrow down your list. And if you're realizing, oh, I really need individualized support, these are larger universities, this may not be kind of the foundation of my decision, you can kind of work towards and kind of adjust your search and things like that too. But be sure to not choose a university based on it being number 1 or number 2 or number 8. Make sure that you know that they have the resources that you need to succeed, because it's easy to get lost at university. So it's good to figure out what you need to help you succeed academically and everything like that as well. I'm going to put a link in the chat. I want to give you guys credit for chatting with me. So if you want to learn more about Niagara University, you can click that link. And if it doesn't work, let me know and I can fix it. You can click that link and put your information in the quick form and click submit. And then I'll reach out to you guys and be sure that we communicate some additional information about Niagara University to you guys too.
I got one more here in my queue, asking about needing IB, International Baccalaureate, to apply. Pretty sure that won't be necessary, but I might be curious if you have any, consideration for IB diplomas or any scores that you look for.
Yeah, so for IB, I favor IB. I'll put it that. I'm gonna say it blank. I favor IB applications because I have done a lot of learning and I know how rigorous the IB curriculum is. So if you go through it, oh, that's amazing. So proud of you. You did it. So that I always love seeing IB applications and things like that too. I believe we also give university credit to some courses and things like that as well. But Obviously, I'm in charge of the whole world. So there's a lot of different curriculums that we're looking into. But if you have really great IB marks and experience in that curriculum, that looks really, really good on a college application.
Yeah, we're seeing a large number of diploma candidates down here in Peru. Peru is actually becoming I think it's one of the largest countries now in the world in terms of number of IB candidates. So it's booming pretty big here.
We love to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I tell a lot of people, even though it's not necessarily a requirement to apply in the U.S., since, most admissions officers are familiar with different systems from all over the world, and you can apply just with Peruvian grades. It's definitely, I think, perceived as a more rigorous system that's going to prepare you more for university, and so that's always a plus.
For sure. Like if I see like a couple weak marks on an IB transcript, I'm like, I know the classes are super hard. So it's easier for me to say, okay, they were just challenged in that course. Did they make up for it in their English class? Oh yeah, they did. They rocked their English course. So, and when I review applications, I'm never finding reasons to deny people. I'm always trying to find reasons to accept, because I don't want to block any opportunities from you guys. So you may have heard universities say holistic review. And holistic review means that obviously you guys will have questions about transcripts and what kind of curriculum you're following. The reason why we ask for that additional information is maybe your marks aren't as strong, but you wrote a really great essay and you have a really, really strong resume, and your letters of recommendation make me feel like, oh my gosh, it would be a mistake for me to not have you at my university. So if there's a weakness in your application, I usually try to fill it with something else to find a strength, because if I do need to send you to a second or maybe third round of review, I have to say, listen, I know that their score in math in 2021 was bleh, but they made up for it because they were involved in this presentation and they presented and won this award or related to math or something like that too, to kind of make up for it. I don't know, but I really do advocate for every single one of you. So if you have something that you really value and things like that and you want to add it to your application, that's great. Just make sure that you keep it during your secondary time, so in grades 9, 10, and 11. The more information I have on you, the better, and the easier it is for me to advocate for you. We have about 2 minutes left, it looks like. So if anyone has any other questions, feel free to pop it in the chat there as well.
All right. Well, if not, we got that link in the chat that Bridget sent over. If you have any, questions or you want to get in touch with her directly, you can do that. You can also reach out to us if you need any help getting in touch with Niagara University or working on your application. If you're already working with us, you can just talk to your counselor and say, hey, I want to apply to Niagara now, and we can totally make that happen. But yeah, thank you so much, Bridget, for taking some time out of your evening to talk with us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Andrew, and thank you guys all for coming to learn more about us.
Yeah, great having you. All right, we'll be in touch.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
All right. We have one more presentation tonight. We've got the University of New Mexico coming up at 8, so please stick around, and we'll see you there for that last presentation of the day.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Of course. Thanks for having us. Oh, did he visit you while he was down there? Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's so great. I am. Yeah, he is my boss, technically. So we work together every day.
So, yeah, I guess we can get started. First of all, I'd like to just take a quick moment to give you an introduction. This is Mary Phibbs. She's from the University of New Mexico. I actually got the pleasure of being at the campus for 3 full days during the International Association for College Admission Counseling conference. It's such a long title, but we had a really good time on campus. Also, my partner Gustavo was able to be there as well, so we had a really good time getting to know UNM that closely. That was actually probably more time than I've spent on almost any other campus actually, besides my alma mater. So it was a really great experience for us to get to see. UNM's a very unique campus, very interesting university, and they've got some very good programs and scholarship opportunities as well for international students that I think you're going to like. So yeah, Mary, you have the floor. The show is yours. And we've got it set up so that people can make questions in the chat here, or also we can have them raise hands and open up their microphones later on too.
Okay, that's perfect. And if anyone hasn't seen it, Andrew made the coolest video while he was at UNM. If you have not seen that, you got to go find it because it's fantastic. And so we loved having you, and we got to host everyone for the ACAC conference. So welcome. I am Mary. Please raise your hand if you have questions. Can everyone see my screen okay and hear me okay? All right. All right. So we are from New Mexico. So we are in the United States. We are right between Arizona and Texas. So we were founded, our university was founded in 1889. So we're a fairly old campus. Beautiful 700-acre campus with a high desert climate. So it is very hot and very dry during the summer, but then it gets very cold during the winter. We have over about 30,000 students on our campus at any given time. And about 1,500 of those are going to be international students. Student faculty ratio of 20-1. And 40% of our campus have fewer than 20 students. So we do have a lot of opportunity for interaction with your professors. And there's often a lot of times that professors will reach out and ask for assistance from students. And we have over 215 undergraduate and graduate degree programs. We have business, education, engineering, all of the things that you would normally think of on campus, but we also some unique things. We're the only university in the United States that offers a degree in flamenco dance. And we also have an Indigenous Studies program, which is amazing. So we have a bunch of different schools. So we have the School of Management, Architecture and Planning, Arts and Sciences, Education, Engineering, Fine Arts, Nursing, and Law and Pharmacy. So we are the only R1 university in the state of New Mexico. For any students who are interested in STEM fields, there are a lot of national labs in New Mexico. So we're very close to Sandia National Labs is in Albuquerque. And then there's Los Alamos National Labs, which is just about an hour's drive away. So number 4, university international arrival experience in the US. Number 6, overall university international academic experience. We're number 1 engineering in the US and 85 for physics. One of the interesting things is I think we're recently in our the last ratings, we're like number 8 for film and photography. And Albuquerque right now with Netflix is filming a lot of things here. So we're considered the number 1 city in the US for filmmakers to live and work. Is it Marielle, do you have a question?
No, I was just excited about the Netflix thing
Oh,
that you
okay,
just
yay,
mentioned.
perfect, awesome,
Yeah.
yes, it's amazing.
Sounds awesome.
All right, so we've got some links here. So if you want all these, I can put them in the chat, or I can send you these slides when we're done. So we do have an Office of Graduate Studies where you can get more information about all of the graduate degrees. So we also have a Graduate and Professional Student Association where a lot of students go to get job experience. There's, I think, for like about the past 6 years, we have a president and a vice president of our Graduate and Professional Student Association. For about the past 6 years, those have all been international students. And we have what we call Lobo Friends. So if you're an international student, we can pair you up with a domestic student to show you around as you get used to campus and life in the US. It really helps to kind of have that cultural mentor. We have a lot of cultural workshops about how to work while you're in the US, things to go see while you're in New Mexico. And actually right now we are having International Education Week. So this is a week where the US celebrates everything that's international education. Just yesterday, we hosted a mini World Cup where we had 16 different soccer teams who all competed. We had teams from the UK and Wales and Spain and Mexico. So I think Ghana ended up winning our little mini World Cup. We have sightseeing trips over the weekends about twice every semester. Our campus has over 400 student clubs and organizations. And there's also, Albuquerque is a very unique and culturally diverse city to live in. So there's always a lot to do. So if you are interested in completing your application for admission, you can click on this link, go to international.unm.edu. In order to apply, we will need your original transcripts and your degree certificates. Most countries are going to need to provide an English language exam. So we do take the TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, Pearson's. For graduate programs, a lot of the graduate programs do require the GRE, but that depends on each department. And depending on what graduate department you're looking at, they may have their own requirements. So if you have not looked into the GRE or anything like that, you can look at the general information about taking the GRE exam if it's required by a department that you're interested in applying to. And if you reach out to us, we can give you some information too. So application deadlines for the spring semester for spring of 2023, our application deadline just passed. For fall semester of 2023, our application deadline is May 1st. Although our deadlines are always a little bit flexible, our main concern is that we get you admitted in time to be able to do all the visa processes that you may need to do on your end. So if you can't make it by the May 1st deadline, there's always some flexibility. So each academic department for the graduate application has a different deadline. It's usually close to these, but they're slightly different. So what we do when we get applications, so you'll submit your application. For undergraduate, we just need your English exam and your official transcripts. For a graduate program, we would need your English exam and unofficial transcripts until you're offered admission. We'll review your admission and scholarship eligibility. Usually for graduate students, the department will offer you admission and decide what scholarships you're available for. Once you accept admission at UNM, then there's the process of issuing immigration documents. So, for graduate admission, you would need a bachelor's degree with a 3.0 GPA. Some graduate departments have their own requirements. The English proficiency results. But if you haven't taken 1 year of US college classes, we can waive that English exam results requirements. So one important thing to consider are financial aid and scholarship. So we do offer the International Amigo Scholarship. So this is an amazing scholarship that provides international students in-state tuition. So you are paying the same tuition as students from New Mexico, and sometimes you can get extra scholarships at the graduate, if you're a graduate student, by having an assistantship. So with the assistantship, you have teaching or research experience. They sometimes come with a stipend and they cover your tuition. So those are two great options for international students to get some financial aid and scholarships. So my boss was supposed to be here, but he couldn't be here tonight. So his name is Pablo. His name is Pablo Torres. Here is his email address. But this is also my email address, so you can contact me here, and I'll put this in the chat in a minute. And if you want to, you can take a photo of this screen, and just any questions you may have. You can always WhatsApp us. You can make a Calendly appointment for a Zoom meeting or email us. So that's kind of the end of my presentation that I have. Do you guys have any questions? I hope you have questions.
Yeah, we've got, we can make the questions
Okay,
in
wait.
the, let me unmute there. Yeah, we can make questions in the chat here if you like, or if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask out loud, just raise your hand and we'll get to them. Yeah, the Netflix stuff I think is really interesting. I know that they opened up that studio basically right across from your. Well, I can't remember. I think probably the Netflix studio came first, and then you opened up or moved the offices right over there. I'm not 100% sure which came first there, but Yeah, it sounds interesting. I think, especially considering how many things have been shot in Albuquerque. If anyone's a fan of Breaking Bad, for example, that's kind of like, I have to imagine that's been a huge boost to tourism in the area.
It has been. So if any of you guys know the show Breaking Bad, it was all filmed in New Mexico, in Albuquerque. So that was kind of the beginning, and then more and more TV shows and Netflix things started being filmed here, and so we've really become a hub for filmmaking. And it's really great because we do have the Netflix studio, so it's great for film students to be able to get that experience. All right. So international students who get a job. So you have a couple of options if you're an international student. So if you are in the US on an F1 visa, technically you're allowed to work 20 hours a week on campus. So there are a ton of on-campus jobs available for international students. In fact, just in our department, I think we end up hiring about 20 international students a semester. But you can also find jobs within the department that you are studying with, so that you're able to get some real world job experience, maybe help with some research, things like that. And there's also another department in the international office that helps students work the CPT and all the applications to be able to work on campus for up to 30 hours a week. So there are lots of options, and there's also a lot of options if you're a graduate student to get an assistantship. Assistantships are great because they often pay your full tuition and pay you somewhat of a stipend, but it's great to be able to help professors either teaching a class or helping with research, things like that. So there are a lot of options for international students to be able to work while you're in New Mexico. Were there any other questions? So does anyone have an idea of like what degrees you're interested in? If you do have specific questions about specific departments, specific degree areas, if you've now decided that you want to come to New Mexico and be a filmmaker, I am going to psychology program is actually amazing. So we kind of have two ways you can go about this depending on what your interest in psychology is. So we do have the psychology program, which does offer a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD program. So that gives you a great opportunity to be able to do research. Like just today, I saw a couple emails go out with professors who are looking to publish papers, who are looking for students, bachelor students, to help with that. So that's a great opportunity. But we also have a counseling program through the education school. So you can do either counseling or school counseling. So there's a couple different ways to go in psychology. So it's kind of depending on what your area of interest ends up being. What do we look for in a student? So what we look for first and foremost is going to be proficiency in English language. The last thing we want you to do is to arrive in the US and not have the English proficiency to be able to succeed well. The next thing we look for is we base a lot on your high school and previous college GPA. So we like to see a GPA above 2.5 for a bachelor's program, above 3.0 for a post degree. And And then just we love having well-rounded students. We really look to see that you are going to contribute to our culture and contribute positively to our campus.
I know we also get a lot of interest just in general in business degrees, especially I think from international students, and maybe some highlights of that would also be good to mention as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a business school. So it's the Anderson School of Management. So they have about 5 kind of different degree tracks that you can major in. I think the most interesting one, so there's cybersecurity and business analytics, marketing, accounting, management. I think the most interesting one is there is like a 4-1 program with your MBA. So there's the option to get an MBA in less than 6 years, which is the normal time for an MBA. We have one of the, so our, the School of Management is also AACSB accredited. So that's the highest accreditation for business schools. So it's a really, really great school. Clubs and extracurriculars. So we have a ton of different extracurricular activities. So like I said, we just had the soccer tournament. So there's a bunch of like intramural soccer clubs. I'm currently working with the coach for the rugby coach. So if anyone's interested in intramural rugby, they're really starting to try to get that off the ground. But we also have esports clubs. I know there's a couple different esports clubs. And there's kind of everything. So that's the great thing is you can come on campus, and if there's not what we have, you can create it. So I know a lot of the students from certain countries have started their own clubs. So we have like an Indian student club, a Pakistani student club. I think there's a student club for students from Peru, I'm pretty sure. So there's lots of options. There's also like, I think there's, along with that, I want to say there's clubs based on like service where we also have, so a service corps where you spend a couple weekends during a semester just going out into the community and volunteering. So that one's really cool. So pretty much with 400 clubs, there's definitely something that you could get involved with. Is there something in particular you're looking for? Nope. Nope, Annie. Oh yeah, absolutely. And actually that's an interesting point is we do on our campus. So we do have a bunch of different communities and service centers. So we do have an LGBTIQ service center on campus, and they do a lot of activities. They provide support, homework support, but we also on campus have the Afro service, student services, and what we call El Centro de la Raza for Hispanic identifying individuals, or for Black students, we have the Afro student services. So we do have a lot of those, and most of those have their own clubs associated with them.
Yeah, and I think I would just chime in and point out that from my time in Albuquerque as well, it's a very open, very diverse area. All kinds of people from all different walks of life are accepted. I think even to the point where you might walk around and think like, oh, people look a little bit weird here, but people are very free to express themselves, right? I think it's kind of that good weird.
That is definitely true. I want to say, especially when I travel other places, I think Albuquerque is one of the most accepting places that I've ever been. People don't really care who you are. They just want to really get to know you, and they love the diversity. They love when you're from somewhere else, and they're really interested to hear your point of view, to hear and to include you in. I know a lot of the local students, what they love doing is with students who are international or from a different culture, they love taking them home for Thanksgiving dinner and showing them that aspect, because we have such a diverse culture in New Mexico that no one really feels like their group is number one, or so it really is such a multicultural state that everyone's just used to sharing their culture with everyone else. Are there any other questions? Feel free to put anything in the chat. Absolutely. Put anything in the chat if you have questions. But I'm also going to put my email address in the chat. So if you guys end up thinking of any questions later, or you're like, oh my gosh, I would love to meet with Mary one-on-one for a Zoom to ask questions, we can totally set that up. Thank you so much, guys. It's been so amazing to talk to you guys. And absolutely, please reach out to me. I would love to meet you one-on-one if you have other questions. Or if you want me to send you my presentation, I can totally do that.
Yeah, that'd be great. We're going to have a recording of this up too on our channel so people can tune into it if they weren't able to make it for this session as well. So we'll be sure to spread that around too, since we know sometimes schedule conflicts happen, you know. But yeah, really appreciate you taking some time to talk to us tonight.
Absolutely. It's been great talking to everyone. I've had so much fun, and please feel free to reach out to me.
All right, will do. Well, then you have Mary's information there if you need to get in touch with her, or you can talk to us as well if you need any help reaching out to any of the universities we've talked to today, or if you need help with their applications too, you can contact us as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank
you
you
so much.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You guys have a great night too.
Bye, Mary. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
See you. All right. I think that'll wrap it up for tonight. So thanks to everybody who's been in attendance today. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow we've got another 4 institutions to check out. So we'll be back here at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Until then, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.